It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul and Richard are here. The end of life for Windows 10 was yesterday. Paul says, no big. We'll talk about the Windows Insider updates. Yes, I called it Windows. And is AI the end of apps? All that and more coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, episode 954, recorded Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. We're just getting started. Hello, all you winners and you dozers. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we get together with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell and talk about the latest news from Microsoft. Paul is in his getaway flat. It's where he goes when the heat is hot. He goes to pied-à-terre in Mexico City. Hello, Mr. Thurrott.
Hello, Leo.
And in beautiful Lisbon, I'm laughing because we called it Libsyn for a while, but no, he's not in Libsyn. He's in Lisbon. Mr. Richard Campbell, RunAs Radio fame. It's sunset in Lisbon, or is it sunrise?
Yeah, no, it's sunset. We're just losing the light now.
Nice.
It's getting dark.
It's a pretty day. I love Lisbon. Stay away from the funicular, however, because that's...
I don't think you can get on it now if you had to.
Yeah. We did the funicular when we were there, because there's Lisbon is a sea level, but then there's kind of bluffs and cliffs.
It's like San Francisco. There's a lot of
very steep,
a lot of up and down.
Yeah, and so they have funiculars. Well, they have a couple of things. One, they have these weird little towers,
with like the miradors.
Yeah, where you can go
towers,
up. Yeah, and for the view. And so those they have elevators on most of those, funiculars on some. And then they have these little cable cars that just go like a block. Yeah, but it's like straight up,
like 45-degree angle almost, or whatever. But yeah.
And that's the only way you can easily get to the bluffs. I mean, I guess you could walk it, but it's tough. And they had a horrible wreck a couple of months ago.
Discord mashed potato says there's no fun in funicular, but there is an ick.
Actually, there is fun in funicular. I enjoyed the funicular. It's all graffitied and kind of fun and funky.
But it's just, they have those beautiful little cable cars throughout Lisbon, right? It's that kind of car, but it's at a whatever angle, 45-degree angle or whatever.
Yeah. And it's not a tourist thing. I mean, everybody rides it. It's people ride it.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Anyway,
we have cable cars in Mexico City that people used to commute to work. Like it's the type of thing you take at a ski chalet, but you're going above the city or whatever.
Wow. Yeah. That's neat. What a way to go to work. Well, let's go to work here and talk about, by the way, yesterday, I hung crepe around the old studio. Sad day, a little bit of mourning for the death of Windows 10. You didn't even know where I was going, did you?
I was like, is it because of, I just forgot the name of it. There's a connoisseur we go to that has had all these banners up. And I asked the guy if it was for him. And he said, no, it was for the place. They were also celebrating their 61st birthday. I guess I'm in Spain now.
Well, there you go.
Barcelona.
Anywho, yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yesterday was the last Patch Tuesday for you Windows 10 folk.
But not really, right? But not really.
That seems unlikely.
So,
it's like Windows 10 end of support, asterisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I saw a piece in 404 Media, which does really good work, and they said 400 million PCs are possibly going to end up in the landfill, which is not a good thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem likely.
Except that's nonsense.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Either people are going to keep using them, they're going to figure out a way to get the ESU, the extended service update, or they're going to put Linux or ChromeOS on it.
Yeah,
Win 11.
Right. And that was the article I wrote yesterday.
Yeah, Win 11. Let's not forget.
Yeah, let's not forget the 1,000,001 ways you can just say, forget about the hardware requirements to get Windows 11. Don't worry about it.
Is there any way absolutely no strings attached? I keep hearing people in our chat and elsewhere saying, yeah, it was just offered to me.
Right. Windows 11 or the ESU?
Maybe it was Windows 11. Maybe I misunderstood.
Well, either one could be, right? So if you have backed up, by which I mean synced your settings through the Windows backup app in Windows 10.
OneDrive, right?
Well, in the back end, it goes to OneDrive. But you can't go access it. It's stored up in the cloud, whatever.
Right. So you don't have to have a OneDrive account to do that.
You do have to sign in with a Microsoft account.
Okay.
Which is most people, right? So fine. you just get the year. Like you'll just get it. It's free. You don't have to do anything.
That's the easiest way. It's better than 1,000 Bing points.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to pay for it. Look, who has Bing rewards points or whatever they're called and is not signing with a Microsoft account?
It's kind of hard not to have Bing rewards points, to be honest.
Right. That's right. You've almost certainly got a Microsoft
I have
account,
thousands. I didn't even do anything. I don't know.
Well, listen, we'll take usage wherever we can get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I moved to Windows 11 a long time ago, and as most of the people who listen to this show probably did, it's the Steve Gibsons of the world who are still operating under Windows 10.
Yeah. Okay. I can't help you with that, but
okay.
Look, I keep pointing this. I mean, we talked about this, a few times recently, but if you actually follow the Windows 11 hardware requirements and think back, like how old would this computer be to basically not meet those requirements? You're talking about 2017 or older. So I get it that there are people out there on those computers and they work fine for them and they're using them and whatever, and that's great. But if you're one of those people and you're listening to this and you have had this argument with me, we're not worried about you. You get it. You're going to figure it out. It's fine. Windows. This isn't in my article, but Microsoft Defender, which is the antivirus thing built into Windows, keeps working in Windows 10. They're not going to screw you over there. You don't have to go buy third-party antivirus, anything. Like the truth is you're going to be fine. I mean,
well, I guess we should say though that you're not going to be fine if you don't do anything. If you just stay on Windows 10, you're running.
No, even people who stay on Windows 10 for the foreseeable future will probably be fine.
Oh, okay.
And if there is some horrible event, some terrible something, whatever it might be, some 0-day, whatever it is, you could rest assured.
There's no way Microsoft doesn't push out a patch.
Yep.
They don't want the pain either.
They've done that before, actually. They
Absolutely.
did that the last time.
Yep.
There was a crisis, as pretty.
It was a
serious.
UK hospital event that they did. It was, I think they were running Windows 7 after that was out of support. Windows 10 was the ongoing concern. And, Terry Myerson said, he's like, what am I going to do? Say no to the UK hospital?
We'll fix it.
We fixed it, of course.
Of course.
So,
and it's not unreasonable for Microsoft to encourage people to move to the modern version of Windows. The more people that are all on the same version, the easier it is for developers and Microsoft and everybody.
If you can buy a new PC and you get one of these Copilot Plus PCs, this is a next level security situation. It's a best case scenario. And, you'll get there eventually. I mean, I think basically all computers are going to be Copilot Plus PCs pretty soon. So whatever, like at some point you'll get a new computer or you won't. I guess you move on. But if you do stick with the PC, you'll be in good shape.
Okay. So I didn't need to hang the crepe. I'm going to take it all down now.
Well, the bad thing about our industry is, to me, the good thing about our industry today, because now that it is one day after that event, and now tomorrow will be 2 days, everyone who is bitching and moaning about this is going to move on to the next thing, and we can just forget about it. So this is not, like as a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, you were talking about the, I don't know if it was Consumer Reports or whatever at the time was saying,
Stacey Higginbotham's letter.
And it's like, this is a curious target, given how many more billions of Android phones are out there with way less support.
Good point.
If you think about 11 years of free support for a consumer product, which is what Microsoft is doing with Windows 11, please point me to the Apple product that got that many years of support, or the Google product or the Amazon product. I mean, it just kind of doesn't exist. Not for like a complicated personal computing platform like this. So I get it, but there are many, many more phones, especially, and maybe tablets too, but it's certainly a lot of tablets that are going out of support too. And where are all the Consumer Report stories about those things? Like where's the outrage there? Any outrage for Apple? No, just Microsoft. Okay.
Well, Android is a good case, but I mean, Windows, there's about $1.5 billion, 2 billion.
Yeah, but they're only some of them are on Windows 10.
Half are on 10. Right?
Okay, but of that half, how many are at businesses which are centrally managed and they're going to be secure forever, regardless of what anyone does? I mean, I don't. This is not the extinction event people are making it out to be.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I look at consumers, just think about individuals, keeping their own devices, whatever. I don't think people care that they're using an out-of-date Android tablet. It still works all these years later. They don't really think about it. They're out there browsing the web, whatever. You don't really hear a lot of stories about those guys getting hacked either, actually, but whatever. I think, Microsoft has done right by this audience, frankly. They've done something unprecedented by offering extended support to consumers, and then they did it again by making it free. So yes, I guess we can sit here and go through the weeds and be like, yeah, but you have to sign in with a Microsoft account. Yeah, I mean, the people who are affected by this are signing in with a Microsoft account. They're fine. It's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. Everyone good?
We're all good.
I think it's fine.
And nothing seemed to burst into flames on the 14th either.
No, the world. This was not a Y2K in the making or anything. And look, if you want to move on, I got outreach like the ChromeOS Flex guys feeling pretty good right now. Zorin OS is a Linux distribution that just issued a major update that has kind of these Windows-looking UIs you can use and integration with things like Microsoft 365 and OneDrive and the file system, et cetera. So they're really going for it. But the truth is, no one's going to do that stuff, right? I mean, not in any appreciable numbers. That people they're going to stay there, or they're going to get whatever device, whether it's a new PC, a new Chromebook, a new Mac, or whatever, an iPad, whatever they do. So anyway, it's fine. That's all I'm saying.
I'm much reassured.
I'm happy to be on the other side of this.
I'm still surprised they didn't bump it out, but okay, here we go.
Yeah, I kind of thought that pressure from Consumer Reports might do that, but I guess they didn't care.
I don't know.
They bumped from April, right? Like it was originally April this year, and now it's October.
And they made it free, right? I mean, originally, I think the plan was like you can pay for this thing. It'll be $30. And then they were like, you know what? We'll make it free.
Yeah.
It's good. I think if Windows users have proven anything to Microsoft, it's that they're not willing to pay for anything. So, yeah, that was never going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, in the land of supported operating systems, yesterday was Patch Tuesday. Actually, Windows 10 got a patch yesterday, too.
The last one.
But it wasn't, because they're going to get security patches for the next 3 years, every month.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, as far as, but we don't talk about security patches, every Tuesday, every month, or the second Tuesday of every month, we're not like, okay, here are all the security fixes that are in the latest Patch Tuesday update. We focus on the new features. And so that's been on the light to non-existent side on the Windows 10 half of the house for a long time, right? Except for the kind of Copilot-y type stuff they started adding toward the end there. But, actually, Windows 10 is going to be a pretty nice place to be for the next 12 months. Not going to get a lot of features. So that's going to be pretty good if that bothers you.
A lot fewer surprises.
That's pretty good. But for the rest of it, it's going to be a frickin' nightmare. And so starting with today, in that the nightmare continues, I guess, right? So if you've been following along with us as we talk about these almost every episode, none of these will be unfamiliar, right? So some components, some updates specifically for Copilot PCs. Click to do gets that summarize action for more concise summaries. The AI agent in settings will now show you direct ways to change the settings right in the dropdown instead of just you click and go to the place, which is kind of cool. That works pretty good, by the way. There's a change to File Explorer for new AI actions on images and documents. I was just looking at this morning, actually, for something we're going to talk about a little later. But you can add this to the list of things that are making the Windows 11 context menus humongous after they culled them down to almost nothing, remember, in the original release. And now they're like, and they're also going like on the sides because there's all these submenus. So there is now an AI actions submenu. But again, we're going to talk about that one a little later because this is yet another step toward a very interesting future, I think. And then
submenus.
Yeah, not submenus. AI actions. Submenus are ridiculous. And then just for everybody, obviously, lots of improvements on the desktop. They've sort of retroactively named this thing, but hardware indicators. If you press the volume up or down button on your keyboard, and that little on-screen overlay comes up and you can see where it's at.
Yep.
You can now position that in different corners of the screen, which I think is pretty cool. So that will appear for that, for brightness, airplane mode, whatever, and then virtual desktops. So you can tell which desktop you're on as you switch around. It's pretty cool. There's other context menu-related File Explorer improvements, which is hilarious. You'd have to be Mary. This is the type of thing Mary Jo would never notice. Mary Jo infamously, they literally would switch from like Windows 10 to Windows 11 and not even notice that change. This one is super subtle, and I got to almost bring up a thing for myself to even remind myself of how this works. But if you right-click on something like an image Yeah, and you get open with, right? So if you compare the open with submenu to the normal context menu, the thing you would have noticed last week is that the icons for apps in the normal menu have a transparent background. So whatever shape they are, you see the shape. But the icons for apps in the open with menu used to have a square around them and a color fill, and now they don't. Mm-hmm. Now they're consistent. So I just spent 2 minutes talking about nothing, but whatever. It's a change.
A change so subtle, even if it's been done.
Even I admit it's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm going to speak about this at length, but let me tell you something. It's not going to impact you in the slightest. We have keyboard shortcuts now for M and N dashes, which is actually pretty cool. It's kind of weird to me that's never been there before.
Yeah, I really like that. I wish I had that on my other.
Yeah, if you do a lot of typing and you heard about this, there's a thing you can hit Windows key plus period. Don't hit Windows key plus comma, by the way, that hides everything. But Windows key plus period. I know. Okay. Brings up this emoji and more window.
It's an
emoji picker essentially. So it lets you add emojis. But if you click through the various things at the top, there is actually some stuff that might be of interest to you, even if you're a person who's like emojis. Are you out of your mind? And I'm not seeing it right now. So that's working out great for me. But you usually, where is this thing?
Let's see. So I have emoji and more.
There should be a way to get the special characters here. This is one of the weird things about Windows. Like back in 30 years ago, you would type.
There. Is that special?
Oh, sorry. I'm not even I can't see you when you're.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, is this
actually, you're seeing it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it's got this weird thing.
No, but go to that, right?
Symbols, it says.
So this is the type of thing people, like normal people, would want. If you're like an adult and you say, I'm never going to use an emoji ever in my life. Okay, I got you. But you should look at this anyway, because this is a great way to get to these characters, which otherwise are really hard to get to.
Copyright.
Yeah. So I have to use the Euro symbol
there's my accent aigu.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty important.
Yeah.
That's a good one to know about.
I like that.
Actually, I'm seeing it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I get it. I'm with you on the emoji thing, although I use them more than I'm embarrassed to admit. But
look, they even have Calmoji. That's nice. Look at that.
They have GIFs and other
whatever. Stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. Symbols. Yep. That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's nice.
Nice.
And then too. Clipboard history. Nice. This is a handy little thing. That's Windows key. Dot.
Yep. Windows key. Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
The thing is, most people, because they literally call it now, I think originally it was just emojis, and it was like emojis and more. And I think to any adult who is never going to use an emoji, they look at it and they're like, yeah, I'm never using this. But actually give it a second, because there's some stuff in there that I think most people would find useful.
Yeah.
Administrator
Apple actually has a dedicated key on their keyboards for that.
Actually, I'm sure certain Windows keyboards do too. This one I'm using is older, so it doesn't. Yeah. But see if that one has it. No, that one doesn't either. Actually, I bet some do though. I think some do.
Yeah.
Dedicated key. You kids. Anyway, eventually the keyboard will be one giant key that will just be the emoji key, and that's how we're going to
There must be a key stroke that you could enter for the M dash. It's probably Alt 0.
There is now. They just added it.
Oh,
so okay. Windows key Shift plus minus is M dash.
Oh,
Windows key minus is N dash.
Okay, capital dash and lowercase dash. That's what the shift's for. So. Windows key dash.
Well, it's the shift key is like a modifier. So it's Windows key minus Windows key shift minus to get either one, like the two sides.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that's built in. Yeah. I mean, it's quicker than using the
I like it.
emoji thing. Or a lot of times, depending on what you're typing in, there'll be you'll have an autocomplete thing that will turn like dash into N. I forget which is which all the time. I don't know. I'm sure it's an important distinction that the 20th century doesn't care about anymore. So who cares? So whatever. We use those things. I don't know. Administrative protection was supposed to be a feature of 25H2, and now it is. So belatedly a month, I guess. They've added that. It's off by default. Remember, this is super disruptive. You as an individual, if you want to be more secure, it's worth trying. You will hate it. I just want to be super clear about that.
It does create friction.
Yes, it does. If you were like, I'm being super efficient, I'm getting work done early every day, I want something that could slow me down a little bit, this is the answer. This will do it.
This is your tool.
Yep. It's going to come up when you least want it, and then there'll be more steps than you want every time. It's unbelievable. But I appreciate what they're trying to do. I mean, it's all in a good cause. I mean, it really is for better security, and it tunes down that administrator account to not be running with admin privileges 100% of the time, which is really what we're shooting for. So,
and de-escalates every time you do it and a command, then it takes.
That's right. So one-time temporary authentication off, and that's it. Yep, every time. Which is why it's tedious, frankly, because you have to keep re-authenticating. But
yeah, if you're doing a bunch of admin stuff, but we rarely are. We usually do an admin thing.
Well, you're going to find out how much you're doing it because
it's going to remind me over and over again.
There's no like you just don't. We don't think about this stuff. Like as we go throughout our day, we click on things, we do things. You don't really have a handle on when your authentication level, I guess, is escalated. You don't really think about it, and you're going to think about it a lot. I can tell you.
This not that simple. Yeah,
this is in your face. The Passkey improvement thing we talked about a few times. This is where you can integrate a third-party password manager that does passkeys, like 1Password, I believe, is the one going out the gate, into the Windows Hello /Passkey support in Windows 11.
Is Bitwarden in there? I thought Bitwarden was in there now.
Oh, maybe it is. I haven't looked at this since they announced it, so that's something I'm gonna get to soon. But yeah, there could be. This is open to anybody. I mean, anybody could get into this. And then some game bar improvements because they can't stop doing this. And this is for those handheld gaming machines that just started coming out, the ROG Xbox Ally. Because that Xbox app will be the UI. When you bring up game bar, well, it's not really I don't know why they associate this game bar, but when you long press the Xbox button, which is that lit up white button in the middle, you'll get a new task manager. It's essentially task view. So you can use the controller to switch between running apps like you would like Alt-Tab or whatever. The theory here is you're using the two controllers, and I don't know why you would want to do this, but whatever you want to switch tabs, you can long press, use the bumper or the trick, whatever, all the directional control, whatever. They can probably use 8 different things, but left and right, move through the app list, go to the new app, and then get back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a bunch of other small things, but those are the big ones. So again, like nothing in this list where you're like, oh, I didn't know about this, but some good stuff. So
good. That's exciting.
Are you starting to see 25H2 showing up on machines?
I have heard from 3 people now. So yeah, it's barreling out the gate. No, I'm sure most people aren't writing me, obviously, but I guess it's happening. I spent. Well, we're going to talk about some of this stuff later in the show, but I've never seen it. So, I mean, me not seeing it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I haven't seen Jupiter either, but I know that it's real. So
it's easy to do. It's like over there.
Yeah, it's easy to see
that
Jupiter.
Was a bad example. I've seen Jupiter, but you know what I'm saying. I'm sure it's happening.
I've never seen my bottom.
I've never seen Pluto. How about that? I've never seen my bottom, but I know that exists because it's killing me right now.
I thought you were going to say you didn't see Uranus, but that's a different thing.
That's another planet entirely.
No number of mirrors seems to do enough.
Let's not go there.
Ice giants are a long way away.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we take a break?
Yeah.
Since we are
at the break time.
I didn't, by the way, I did my Windows update yesterday, hoping I would get 25H2. I did not. I'm still 24.
Same. Yeah. Yep.
No, it's not on this machine either. But
3 people have it. That's the good news.
And they're so happy.
They're probably a little upset, frankly. If my understanding of this audience is in any way accurate, but yeah.
Moving right along, let's talk about our sponsor, shall we? Zapier. I love Zapier, and I can say I love it because I use it. I use it all the time. I probably used it, 30 or 40 times this morning alone. What, you may ask, is Zapier. Zapier automates the work that I do constantly and don't want to do by hand. So the reason I used it 30 times this morning is when I bookmark stories for our shows, which I do all the time. That's kind of, a big part of my off-the-air job is going through all the tech news and bookmarking it. I bookmark it in raindrop.io, which has a connector to Zapier, which has a connector to Mastodon, so it posts on my Mastodon. Here's a news story I'm working on. It also posts to Google because it supports Google Docs. It also adds a line. It's more than just supports Google Docs. I mean, it integrates deeply into these thousands of applications that Zapier supports and automatically adds a line to a Google spreadsheet called Leo's Links. that then the producers can take and post into our rundowns. For all I know, they're using Zapier to do that too. That's the beauty of Zapier. Whatever you need to get done, you can get done with Zapier. But now Zapier has just gotten a whole lot more powerful. One of the things we've been talking about a lot on this show and all the shows we do, AI, right? But I think for a lot of us, I know it's for sure for me, I'll look at a prompt, an AI prompt, and think, I don't know what to do here. I don't know. Okay, what's next? Talking about these trends doesn't help you be more efficient at work. For that, you need the tools. And this is where Zapier comes in. Zapier is how you break the hype cycle and put AI to work across your company. See, I can actually now add AI to that workflow I just told you about to have it automatically summarize those stories that I bookmark, and then take the summary and put it in my Obsidian, or I could put it in OneNote or so. This is the beauty of it. Everything works together, and it does it without any effort on your part. Zapier can be for your company how you actually deliver on your AI strategy and not just talk about it. With Zapier's AI orchestration platform, and we've talked a lot about the idea of orchestration. That's a really powerful idea in AI. You can bring the power of AI to any workflow, so you can do more of what matters, and you suddenly get superpowers. Connect top AI models too, by the way. This is the beauty of Zapier. It works with everything. You like ChatGPT, use ChatGPT. You like Claude, use Claude. Whatever tools your team already uses, you can then add AI exactly where you need it. So it's not some general, let's just throw some stuff at AI, see what happens. It's part of your workflow, whether that's AI-powered workflows, an autonomous agent, a customer chatbot, or anything else. You can orchestrate it with Zapier and AI. Zapier is for everybody. By the way, you do not have to be a tech expert to use this. It's not like programming. It's easy. And I'll tell you how we know. Teams have already automated over 300 million AI tasks using Zapier. 300 million. Join the millions of businesses transforming how they work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting Zapier.com/Windows. That's Zapier.com/Windows. Zapier. Thank you, Zapier, for your support of Windows Weekly. And frankly, thank you for helping me do my job. I couldn't do it without Zapier. It's been a real boon for me. And that's been going on 5-6 years now, I think, at least. Zapier. All right, Mr. Thurrott. Let's talk about the insiders now instead of just the regular people. Let's talk about the real people, the people that matter.
Yeah, so just had a patch Tuesday, and that's not the end of the line.
It's just beginning.
Yeah, it's just a slice in time. So this is kind of unusual, but in the past week, there have been 2 standalone updates to the Copilot app in Windows 11 in preview that has gone out through all of the insider channels. So if you have a PC in any channel in the insider program, you'll eventually get it if you haven't gotten it already. I mean, this is one of those things, like these just app updates, like everything else in Windows, it will happen on whatever random schedule Microsoft prefers. The first one is probably the more profound of the 2. And that adds 2 big bucket features. One is connectors, and this allows you to connect to consumer services like Microsoft's OneDrive and Outlook for email, contacts, and calendar. And interestingly, also Google Drive, Google Calendar, and Google Contacts. So then you can use natural language to access data that's held in those silos or buckets or whatever you want to call those. So in other words, you can say to Copilot, hey, what's the email address for some person? And if you've connected it to Google Contacts and you can find that person there, it will tell you what it is through there, right? And this is, again, I keep alluding to this for some reason. I don't mean to always do this, but a little later in the show in the AI section, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think is the beginning of the end of apps as we know them. But for now, it's just that apps are becoming programmatic, meaning they can be controlled or orchestrated from the outside, typically by some AI, right?
Yeah.
Which is how those app actions occur. So if you right-click on an image in File Explorer and you go to AI Actions, you'll see options like remove background with paint, right? And so today that brings up Paint and it does it for you. You see it and then you can go from there and save it or not. But in the future, I think these things will essentially be UI-less.
Right. It'll just be a prompt.
Yeah, it'll be part of a workflow script, right? Of some kind. So that'll be part of it. And then you'll just say it out loud. You'll say, remove the background. You won't care about which program does it. And then save the file with a new file name or whatever, right? Yeah. The whole workflow will occur as part of one thing.
I've been experimenting with various AI tools to make the RunAs headshots that we take the color out, turn high contrast, sort of 8-bitify, pixelate.
Yeah. So have you had any success?
No.
Okay. So I think for that to work, like I don't know what apps or services or whatever you're using, but yes, I mean, apps, this is why, every day, if you like in my newsfeed, because of what I do for a living, I'll see things like Google adds single feature to single Google app or service. And it's always AI related. So it will be like they add Nano Banana support to, and then name some Google service. It's like a Mad Lib game, right? And you'll see the same thing on the Microsoft side. This is essentially that. Like we've listed specific apps. But over time, of course, these things are open. They're APIs. Anyone can do this. If you're in this ecosystem as an app developer, you're going to probably want to open your stuff up because otherwise people are going to move on and do the next thing. But
you know what I did, Richard? It might work for your RunAs things. I used Nano Banana to do a Wall Street Journal stipple.
Nice. And it actually did a pretty good one.
Yeah. So this is the original. I took this when I was shopping for eyeglasses, and I just thought, well, let me see what I can do. And that's the stipple.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's really good.
And it took the background.
And I asked it to take out the background.
That's actually, I'm sorry, which one did you use?
Now, this is Nano Banana.
Okay.
This was Perplexity, but I think it might have used Nano Banana because it's pretty close.
Under the hood is so close.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, so I had a prompt that said, use pen, blue pen on paper.
Nice.
But I don't think that.
That's like you as like Thurston Howell the third. Like
love it,
Gilligan.
But I thought that the Wall Street Journal one was pretty darn good.
That's amazing.
Pretty good,
that looks like it's the real thing.
It looks like a real. I came really close. I was told the Journal was doing a story about TWiT or Tech TV or something.
Nice, here we go.
I can't wait. I'm going to get my stipple, and they didn't do it. So,
I'm sorry.
But thanks to AI, 20 years later, I got a stipple.
It's like
you could probably use that
tab thing you take for that
on the RunAs Radio thing.
Yeah, I almost could.
Yeah,
it's
pretty close. Yeah,
I got to tinker around with it again.
I think if you gave it,
it's all about trying to automate that workflow.
You could say, I want this to look like this.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you basically
that's the tool I've been looking for. See this? Yeah. This was made from
it's like
this.
You're
now
creating like a GPT essentially, where now you just pump a photo into it and it will randomly color
Have
it.
I mentioned Zapier lately?
Why do they do workflows? I've never heard of that.
Strange.
That's the kind of thing they could do very, very easily, I suspect.
Yeah.
The other thing a lot of our people who roll your own home server types, and I know that's what you are, Richard, uses N8N, which is a nodal automation tool with AI. So you could say, take images like this, and then put an AI in the middle of it. It's kind of the same idea, but create a workflow. And you run the server locally.
This is like an if then that, but with
it's like if then that.
If this AI, then that AI.
Yeah,
whatever.
But it's an open source. You run it locally. I'm sure you can run it hosted, but you're a guy who likes to run stuff locally, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm looking at those new NVIDIA little micro.
I'm so happy with this framework. This thing is snappy as heck. I'm able to run the open source GPT OSS 120 gigabyte one, the biggest.
Wow.
No problem. 20 or 30 tokens per second. It's really fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I really need a local AI, but it's nice.
This is not about need, Leo.
It's nice
Come
for
on.
a server. Actually, at some point, I want to ask you some questions because I know you're using WireGuard on your Ubiquity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm running these servers, but I don't want to run the servers open to the public. I want to run this framework and have you log in via WireGuard, right? That's how you would do it. So you connect via WireGuard, and now you're in the home network, basically.
Yep.
And you can do anything you would do if you were at home. Mm-hmm. Okay. I have some questions, but I'll ask those.
No, and funny you bring that up because on at least one of the hotels in the trip so far, I've run into blocks VPNs. But if I tail scaled it, I wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, because Tailscale uses NAT
going through port 80.
Yeah. So that's the advantage. Of course, Tailscale, you have to go through their server for
them. You have to web proxy, but that's fine.
But that's an advantage to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely. You never know what you're getting in a hotel. You just never know.
Tailscale uses WireGuard, but it gives you NAT traversal, so you don't have to say I'm using a VPN here. That's funny. The hotel blocks VPNs.
Yeah, that was this random stuff happens.
It's Portugal.
You got to take it's not this hotel, but you got to take a guess at how many hotels I go to in a given year. Like you're gonna
hit stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you set up Tailscale?
I have not. I didn't need to. I was able to work around it. But.
Yeah. I've been tempted, but then I think I could just do native WireGuard because it doesn't. It seems pretty secure and all that. Anyway,
it is good.
Yeah.
It's not.
Sorry, Paul. Didn't mean to bore you. Can I help you with anything? Is there something going on? Are you doing one of those puzzles where you rearrange the numbers?
If I put my thumb in there and then it gets cut off if I don't solve the puzzle.
Broke it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The other update that was part of that, part of that same update, I guess, same update is document creation and export. And actually, I think this speaks to a future of kind of appless apps, where you can just go to Copilot and say, you've created something, now make this a Word document, create an Excel file from the table, et cetera, et cetera. So again, same idea, programmatic access to what are essentially standalone apps today, but are going to be very different soon. And then I think it was just yesterday. Maybe
the question is, do you have to specify I want to make a Word doc versus I want to make an Excel doc, or it's just like I want to make a thing? Just make the thing and put it where I want.
Well, you may want it to be in that particular document format, right? So you would say Word doc, because it's going to export it as a file.
Yeah, and in the end, it's still mapping that. This is the thing that Bill always railed against, right? And in some ways, I felt like OneNote was the solution, where it's just like, here is the universal, what do you want to make thing.
So much as is the case with religion, right? For a religion that is 2,000 plus years old to still be successful today, you have to kind of adapt to what's there at the time, right? And so as we move forward in time and things are going to change, this is, again, I keep saying this, we're going to talk about this a little bit, but people today have familiar apps and workflows that they use. And so to get them onto this AI train, you have to make that stuff work with the stuff they understand. And then the harder step, especially for the older guys like me who are stuck in their ways, is going to get them to just kind of move fully to these new workflows where you're still doing the same thing, but you're not using the familiar tool. You're not bringing up Photoshop, which you've spent a decade learning and you know exactly where all the menu items are to do whatever effect. You're saying, do it.
Yeah.
And it just
do
does
this.
So
that's where I'm trying to get to with that, with the headshot thing. Just
exactly.
Do this.
Yep. I think you're going to get there. I mean, I know you're going to get there. Of course you are. Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where you just want to simplify the workflows more and more and more. Like that's what's going to make a difference for you.
Yeah. The example I had always used was every January I make that chart and I never can do it right. And because I don't know Excel very well. And the other example of that is like the logo we have for Eternal Spring is whatever font. It's a special font that I've kind of contorted into my own thing, but I want images in each letter, but not around. I want the outside of it to be transparent, but I want the image to appear through the back. There's a term for this. I don't know what it is. I actually don't care, by the way, but I just want to know how to do that. Right. And so I just had to do that again. And I did figure it out. And now actually, I think I've remembered it too. So this is an example of I can actually learn something apparently, but again, here's a logo, put this image behind it. That's a very easy thing to describe and anyone should be able to do that. And that's the point. I mean, that's why this stuff's going to be pretty powerful. The other app update that we got to Copilot across all Insider channels is not as interesting, but it's tied to that AI agent in settings. Although I don't think that this is tied to Copilot Plus PCs, right? So my assumption is that this is a way to do what the agent does, but without having a Copilot Plus PC, and you would do it from the Copilot app, which is hitting the cloud, right? So they probably using the same model in the cloud and they have the same understanding. And you ask it, how do I do this thing that is essentially a setting? And it will, depending on what you ask it, will show you how to find that thing, or you click here to go to that thing, or even do the thing, right? Which is, of course, the ideal end game. I'll remind everyone, by the way, that this was a feature that Copilot had in November 2023, and it went away and whatever. Okay. So, but whatever, that's happening. I suspect what they did was change the back. And I think at some point they were like, you know what, we got to do this programmatic app thing. And I think it just kind of came full circle. So, okay. So there's those two, right? Yeah. And then I don't remember when, it doesn't matter, who cares? But sometime in the past week, we got dev and beta builds. So this is 25, 24H2 respectively, same features. And, again, you can kind of see things are just progressing across the board, often in the same places, right? So the settings feature where you can, like there's an inline agent action, so you can do the action inside was part of this, although that apparently is now rolling out in stable. Setting search was improved so that it can show you actionable items when you find things that you can search on. Like it's kind of interesting. So that's okay. If you are a fan of the snap layout feature where you drag the window and the little bar comes down from the top, it's one of the first things I disabled. Now I can't stand that thing.
Me too. Yeah.
Because it tends to grab the window and it's like,
and change its size. And
it's a little too.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I don't like
You're
it.
A little too enthusiastic.
Exactly. One too many times. I'm like, screw this thing.
You're like a 2-year-old with marshmallow on its fingers, and I walk too close to it. Doink, you stick me.
Yeah. I don't have this one yet. So I've installed this update, but I don't have this. But there is a feature in there for a similar feature for drag and drop. So now or soon, when you drag a file toward the top of the screen, you'll get a what they're calling a drag tray. That will suggest relevant apps and other options for share, essentially with sharing. So the 21st way to share a file now in Windows, they really want you to share stuff. Called the drag tray. So have fun with that. I think most people are going to find that one by mistake. I can't imagine anyone would do this on purpose, but okay, fine. More click to do improvements with regards to visual entities in the screen you're sort of looking at, where they do the highlight of all the elements that will let you know kind of what you can do with those things. So things that have specific actions associated with them. In other words, not just images and text, but emails or a table will be highlighted especially because they actually have a very specific action associated with them, right? You can turn a table into an Excel table or whatever, that kind of thing. And then the actually only important thing in this whole list of updates, which is just seriously 8 years, 15 years, I don't know, so many years in the making. Windows 10, remember, introduced dark mode.
Yes.
We spent several years flailing around with that. Some apps do, some apps don't. Some do well, some do.
Some do terribly.
Yep. So if you open File Explorer in Windows 11 today, and then you go to the little ... menu options, you'll notice that thing opens up as a stark white window, no matter if you're in dark mode or light mode. Those things are getting fixed. So I don't have that yet, but the run dialog, that window I just talked about, the file transfer dialog, you get the file progress dialog, a couple of other dialogues are actually going to be dark now if you're in dark mode.
I just checked. No, my options is bright white.
I know. It makes me crazy. It's like I'm looking for a way to light up the room in the darkness and also hurt my eyes. Yeah. Open File Explorer options. It's bad. So
yeah, you can see it's the old style Windows, like management interface window.
Yes, that's right.
Right. So it's just not poking back.
Old fashioned. Yep.
It's old fashioned. It's underneath everything Windows 11. I never really know if my audio settings are right until I can get all the way down to the old audio settings underneath the Windows 11 stuff.
We're never, ever going to have consistency in Windows, but this is a step in that direction, I guess. So God love them. They keep doing it. But
yeah.
So I might have misspoken, actually. Maybe the bigger change is this next and last one, which is they redesigned the OneDrive icon.
Oh, boy. I'm excited.
Yeah. Given the commentary I just had about inconsistency, thy name is Windows, and how we're never escaping from this prison, if you are in a darkly...
There must be somebody working on a OneDrive book that was within a week of finishing, and so they had to change the graphics. So I'm trying not to let that stuff bother me anymore. I'm doing great. Drugs really help. But there's a medication.
If you haven't seen it, strongly recommend. Just for the humor, there's a Microsoft Design blog. There's a site, Microsoft Design, and it's on Medium, of course. But there's a whole article there about. Actually, there's a different site. There's a full site for this, so you should look this up. There's a Microsoft design site, and they explain themselves there. But God, you read them talking about themselves and how they're crafting icons, for Office and Windows, and they're crafting the Windows 11 UI, and it makes it sound like there's just people who really care and know what they're doing. And it is in sharp contrast to the reality we're experiencing every day, right? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. Who are these people? But like I said, don't go in there unless you're like drunk or whatever. You'll walk away very upset. At least I would. But so there's that. Okay. Then outside of that one app thing, Dashlane announced, I think yesterday, they're partnering with Yubico, who makes the YubiKey hardware security keys, which I think Richard uses, right?
I carry one, yes.
Yeah. So to date, they're used as technically they're like secondary authentication methods. So they're billing themselves as the first like top level password manager, passkey manager to use YubiKeys as the primary access for the vault. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually that sounds pretty good to me. So I would expect eventually all password managers.
And in general, the motion is just get rid of the password. I use something else, right?
That's right.
So we talk about passkeys, which I'm still hesitating on. I've stopped recommending YubiKey to anybody just because I think
it's just too much,
except admins, and it is too much. It's a lot.
It's too much for people. Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's like, it does not scale. You have to be concerned about it. Like you never.
And you really need to have more than one of them, of course. You need to have a backup, somewhere. And then what do you do with that? And what happens if you're on the road? And
I ended up with 5. 2 A's.
Yeah, I always buy 5 at a time. when I buy them.
Yeah, I mean,
so I've got the 2 NFC ones that are A's that I can also tap to my phone, and those one of those is always carried, and one of those is in storage. Right. I have 2 little micro ones that are actually plugged into the USB ports on keyboards.
Yep.
Right.
So of my main machine, so they're just readily available there.
So that way, anybody breaks into your house, they don't have to go searching. It's right there.
Yeah, it's just always super convenient. Yep.
And then I got 1 C because I had some stuff. I had that Google tablet. It only took C. And so I had to have a C as well.
So really, though, if you have passkeys or using 2-factor authenticator, that's probably adequate, right?
Yep. If you're using an authenticator app, this is a more or less the equivalent of an authenticator app. But
don't use SMS, obviously. But if you're an authenticator app, one-time password.
But how many products out there automatically use your SMS, whether you want them to or not?
That's the big
mostly
problem.
Banks. Mostly things you really care about.
Airlines, like only important things. They keep depending on it.
And you know why that is?
As we don't use our phones for phone calls. And so you could make this argument that phone numbers don't matter anymore, except phone numbers really matter. And it's for this reason. It is astonishing how many times I have to turn to my phone to approve something. And a lot of times you really don't get, I mean, I guess you could not configure the phone, but like you pretty much, it's not something I'm looking for. It just happens,
there's going to be a airline strike on the weekend here. So I decided I got to get out ahead of that. So I had to change a bunch of flights today, and that involves a certain number of fees. And every time I use the card, I need an additional validator. And then the validator wanted to send me an email and asked for a code. Right. And it's like 5 of them. It's like, I feel really safe and angry, but safe.
I like that my Amazon account in Mexico is tied to my US phone number. Which is like, okay. Like, I mean, actually, honestly, it's convenient that it works. I'm not really complaining. It's just, it's weird to me, but whatever.
It is strange.
Yeah. And now a bunch of hardware stuff, interestingly. Yeah. So I know one of the big discussions has been around whether we're ever going to see Snapdragon X-based desktop PCs. Lenovo had announced one, I think it's CES. I'm not sure that one ever appeared, or maybe this is that one, but they are now shipping something.
Because it was small form factor.
Yeah.
So it might have been.
Yep. And it was supposed to be one of those NUC type companies whose name I'm now zoning on was supposed to be making one. They announced that in December last year. That's
the B? The B computer?
I think B, B or something. Is it BCom or something?
B-Link? I think.
One of those signs. One of those companies, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one's out now. It's called a terrible name, but as every phone in my home rings here. It's called the ThinkCentre Neo 50Q QC.
Oh,
QC
of course.
Wow.
Because
Microsoft called it once its naming strategy.
This looks somewhat like the demo. What was it? The developer kit that we
The little.
sent you.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's
this
not
is
that far
this
from
is
the
way
Zep
smaller
kits,
than
isn't
that.
Oh, is it really?
Way smaller, yeah. So this
Well,
is a
you
true
should put a banana
SFF.
next to it or something because it's hard to
Yeah,
tell.
well, it's got a USB port. That's usually a good gauge.
I mean, it's roughly whatever. So here's the problem. Honestly, it's neat. I mean, I love that it exists. This is the same processor, which is, depending on which one you get, it's either the second or a very lowest Snapdragon processor in that whole list, right?
Right.
Oh.
16 gigs. I think you can get a 32 gig configuration, and then it's got a normal SSD. You can swap that out. I did open this thing up. I couldn't help but open this thing up, and I took off all the fans so I could see the processor and all that stuff. And it's a PC, so I don't know what I did that for, but they do have multiple M2 slots. So if you want to add a second storage, you can, SSD, you can do that. You can want to replace the storage, you can do that, obviously. But it has what I'm going to call a fatal flaw, which I just don't understand. I don't mind that the USB ports top out at 10 gigabits per second, rather.
Right.
That's fine. I mean, for most people, it's fine. But there is no USB-C port. There's only one USB-C port. It's on the front. It doesn't support the display port.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I got this thing here and I was like, how do I connect this to anything?
It's got a DP in the back, right? Or is that just HDMI?
Yeah, it does. It has HDMI and DP.
Right.
We only have one normal desktop monitor here, right? My wife's using it. So you can imagine that conversation. I bought this cable that has HDMI on one side and USB on the other. I can't get this to work. I suppose the more common use for this is to go from USB on a device to HDMI on a monitor. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's one way. I don't know. I don't really know.
They do make one-way cables like that. The decoder.
I might have screwed that one up. So today I had to connect it to my wife's monitor while she was taking a call in the other room, and then beg for more time. So I did go through the whole
$100. You can get yourself a DV monitor. They're not that hard to come by.
Well, I'm in Mexico, so yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're right. I really don't. I don't want one. I mean, I have to send this thing back. I'm not going to get one to test something. I don't. So
the funny part is, I got a stack of them because I took some.
Well, I have a bunch at home. If we were in Pennsylvania, I'd have my choice of 5 or 6.
Yeah. Should probably leave one down there, Paul. I think you're staying. Spare.
I struggle with how much technology I have here. It's embarrassing, but yeah, this is one of the things I don't know.
It's going to slowly creep up.
Maybe
that's fine. Everything's fine. You're going to be fine.
So here's an interesting little factoid. This thing, if you think about it, this does not have Windows Hello, ESS, anything.
That was my first question. I waited for you to get here.
Yep. So here's you can kind of logic your way through this one because it will make sense when you kind of talk yourself through it. So having connected to a monitor and actually set it up, and I signed in with my Microsoft account, updated it, blah, blah, blah. Completely normal, just everything you've ever done with Windows 11 works normal. Okay. But if you go into account settings in the settings app and sign-in options, Windows Hello, facial, and fingerprint recognition are not available. Right. Now, we know that there are fingerprint readers coming that will be compatible. Okay. Yeah. You could get an existing facial or like a webcam or a fingerprint reader and then disable, flip the switch that allows for these things. But now you're not using ESS, right? You're not getting the more stringent security.
That's what you want. Yeah. You're going to land on recall here at some point, right?
Oh, no. Well, that I have not tried.
Because I imagine it won't work without ESS, right? That's what they said.
I will test that as soon as the show is over. Now, I'm not that one. I'm not sure of. So, but here's the thing: Windows Hello ESS, the basic lowest level, the thing that it always has to be. There's a PIN, and the truth is, this bugs people. I've gotten a lot of questions about this. How on earth could a 4-digit PIN be, secure in any way or more secure than a complex password, whatever it is? Mm-hmm. But if you sign into Windows 11 with an account that has a password, whether it's a local account or an online account like a Microsoft account or a work or school account, you have to make a PIN. This is a requirement. And it is a requirement, and it's a requirement of Windows Hello ESS, and technically it is Windows Hello ESS. It's just not ESS when you add a webcam to it. So
Right.
it is in fact ESS. So you do get those, those protections. You get that stuff. It's got that end-to-end thing going, but yeah, without not as convenient as a fingerprint reader or a facial recognition system. So
Yeah, no. So are there actually Hello ESS capable external webcams that I can just plug into the machine?
no, but there is one.
How about fingerprint
readers happening? So this is brand new.
apparently.
I think this capability is still in the Insider program. I don't think it's in mainstream Windows 11 yet, but yes, that is coming.
Right.
they've
And I'll
announced
get
it.
one. I mean, I'm not a big fingerprint reader fan, but just to qualify for ESS.
Yep. And look, if they can do it with the fingerprint reader, I feel like they could do it with facial recognition. Obviously, there have been some issues there. It's not like you can hold up a photo and sign in, but people have fudged with it in some ways over time. So we'll see. But I feel like once you take that first step, we're going to hit some logical end game there or whatever. I think I'm sure I've mentioned this at some point, but over the summer I bought with my own money the lowest end Snapdragon computer you could buy. Well, second lowest. I got the 16-inch version, so it's a little bit more expensive, but they make the same laptop in 14 and 16-inch versions. And when I went to IFA in Berlin over the beginning of September, I brought two Intel computers, and I wanted to snap one in half over my knee. I hated it so much. It was so unreliable. I was so effing mad at this thing. And it would it was so unreliable. The performance was so garbage. And when I got home, and this thing, by the way, retails for like $24.99, expensive laptop. And I got home and I went to this $600 piece of junk, opened it up. The display came on, signed in. It just worked. And I was like, thank you, God. This thing costs less than a third of most of the laptops I review, and it is better than 95% of laptops I review.
Wow.
Like, it is awesome. And this is the lowest end chip you can get. It's only 16 gigs of RAM. The only issue I ever ran into with it was storage. And this is the lowest end storage you can get, 256. It's not enough. I don't have it right here, but I ordered now that I've reviewed it, I got a 1 terabyte SSD, and I'm just going to swap it out because you can open it up and do it yourself. It's designed to do that. Other than that, it's fantastic. And this is exactly the platform that's inside the Lenovo SFF PC. So it's probably going to be pretty good. I personally, if you're a developer or you're doing something, you know who you are, but you might need 32 gigs of RAM if you're a power user or whatever. But honestly, this thing, I use it every day. I was using it until we started the show. It's fantastic. So that's just awesome. And a great example of how, review, HP, Lenovo, Dell, whatever, they typically send out the really nice ones, whatever they want you to review. Like, here's the $3,000 version. It's normal. Don't worry. $600 Snapdragon. I've often made the case, like, there's no such thing as Consumer Reports will do this, or the Wirecutter of like best Windows PCs for $500. It's like an empty page. It says this page intentionally left blank. There's no such thing. Those things are all garbage.
They're terrible.
If you can spend $100 more, $150 more, awesome. It's awesome.
You remember when the iPad first came out back in 2010? They were struggling to get to a $500 laptop, and they were truly awful. Like, they
still
were
are.
giant pieces of plastic. They were just dreadful.
They were netbooks, literally. When that thing first came out, Apple looked at that. They're like, we could make a netbook. Yeah. And I don't know who it was, Steve Jobs or whatever, Johnny Ives or someone was like, why don't we just get rid of this, get rid of the keyboard? How does that sound? And also get rid of the Mac part.
Yes.
There is a rumor that they're about to release a $500 or $600 MacBook.
Yes, we should run like an A series processor, which I have to say, I think for them, if you think about M series in a Mac, and they have M5 now and the Pro and Max renditions of the M4, et cetera, you could look at the A series as being the Snapdragon X of that world, right? Yeah, because it's essentially the same architecture, and it will run Mac OS, and it's not going to be as whatever. It won't have the same performance per core or whatever it is, but it's probably going to be good enough for a lot of people. And this gives them like another tier for that and another price point, right? Yeah. So I think it's important because when you want to get people switching to your platform, it's nice to have something that's. I don't think MacBooks are particularly expensive, by the way. Like a MacBook Air is, typically $899. Not even, it's it's nice. But yeah, you get one that are like $650. Now we're talking, because there are not that many good PCs right there.
No, it's almost.
So it's a good idea. And and I'm not saying ARM is the only thing that makes it possible, but actually I am saying that. So screw you, x86. I hope you die soon. Speaking of which,
Speaking of death,
speaking of things I want to die, Intel this past week answered one of the questions I had, which was, where is the next gen chips, right? So the IFA came and went, nothing, right? CS is coming up. They have done late year announcements in the past several years for their x86 stuff, like the Meteor Lake, came late that year. And actually that year, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first PCs came out that December, ahead of CS, right? Meteor Lake laptops, which, were garbage because they're Intel. But anyway, so the Intel Core Ultra Series 3 chips for mobile are built on Intel's new 18A manufacturing node in Arizona, right? Made in America.
Yeah. U.S. manufactured, and extreme ultraviolet as well, like the 2 nanometer process. Like this is
2 nanometer equivalent.
Admittedly, 2 nanometers.
2 nanometer asterisk.
Doesn't mean anything. But
it's probably.
But it is using the new hardware. Like this is what the U.S. government, several of them, have tried to get to: is can we start making this stuff in the U.S.? And here it is.
Yep. Now I wonder.
And it's Intel.
I know. So we'll see, right? So the promise they've made here is that this will combine, this is what people want in mobile, frankly. This is what we're getting on the AMD side, by the way, is the efficiency of the Lunar Lake stuff, which is their one-time special design, chiplet, whatever, with RAM embedded inside. But this one the RAM will be alongside. So the efficiency of that and battery life, right? So you get like a better efficiency, better battery life. But then also the performance of what is now an Arrow Lake, which is actually a continuation of the Meteor Lake line, in the sense that it has the old school NPU and just more beefy old school style chip. So that sounds great. I will say a year ago when they came out with Lunar Lake, that sounded great. I thought they came out really confident, good for them. The problem for Intel, and this is not unique to Lunar Lake, just reviewing laptops over the past several years, I actually struggle to remember how far back to go, but at least as far back as 12th gen Core, and then there was 13th, and then there was a 14th sort of, but that was when we did Meteor Lake and the first Core Ultra chip. So at least 4, if not 5 generations of these chips, I have seen major reliability problems, like with each gen. And I don't doubt their efficiency and performance claims, but they also never address reliability. And that has been a sore spot for me with Intel. That's really the problem, right? It's not performance. It's not efficiency. I honestly, the stuff they have today is good enough, I would say, in those areas. It's reliability. And I'm sorry, but as the world's biggest maker of chips in the PC space, like this is something this is a fundamental, like you have to nail this. So we'll see.
And one of the new PCs I built is an Arrow Lake PC, right? So, and
I mean, they're good for desktop PCs. I mean,
it's smoking. No two ways.
And you probably want to throw an NVIDIA GPU in there or whatever, but
it's got a 5080 on it, and
so it's probably
what I don't worry about on that machine? Battery life, not a thing.
Yeah, but I have these things like better. So 2 things tied to that. So I have this. I showed you that Lenovo Legion Go handheld, right? That I'm going to review. I have played around with the power management stuff. I put it on just balanced across the board, not better performance. Honestly, the games play fine. The thing sounds like a jet engine 100% of the time. It doesn't matter if the thing's just sitting there on the desktop. It's like the whole time. I don't know what's going on with that.
Now, admittedly, I put a honking big face.
Yeah, you need something. Yeah,
140 mil.
That's what this thing needs, is like a hood off the back. That's just like this.
I got a cooler the size of a laptop strapped to it. Right.
I can't get more than 2 hours of battery life on this thing. No matter what I change, I just don't know what to do anymore.
And it's funny you say that, because it's like, I don't really need battery life, and yet I upgraded to the APC 1500 VA with the extended battery pack for that machine.
So you do need a battery for the UPS.
So it's like one of those, like you can get an AC unit. It's like a cube, and it has a tube that goes out to the wind. It's like that. You just add it to the thing, The other thing I've experienced lately, because I play Call of Duty, the latest game, and I just a couple of times lately I've been just playing the game and the computer just turns off.
Wow,
it's like we just need to. it just turns off. I don't know. Not the little thing, just like a normal laptop. Oh, that one too, actually. That's it. Sorry, it has Zapier, but just like a laptop. It's just you're playing, the fan's going, you get the thing. It's like click. It's like
enough. I can't. And it's
like there is a blessed moment of silence, actually, which is kind of nice. And then
suddenly that 14-year-old in your ear is gone, and you're happier.
Oh, you're like, my tinnitus is gone, and then it comes on again. It's very strange. But anyway, look,
very funny.
I really do hope that Panther Lake is what they say it is. And like I said, I do believe them on the efficiency and performance stuff.
Well, if it's 2 nanometer, it probably is that.
And again, right? 2 nanometer.
Well, reliability.
Yeah, but everybody's
reliability
using it, so
this is a tougher problem, right?
So TSMC does the same.
This is nanocode problem. This is this is when Lunar Lake came out. Remember, no one was getting the performance, or was it performance? Yeah, performance that Intel was talking about. And they said, "Oh yeah. Sorry, you got to put it on best performance all the time, even when you're battery." And you're like, "Okay, so that actually does solve the performance problem, but now I'm getting 3 hours of battery life, not 9 hours of battery life. So what's going on?" They're like, "Well, we're going to release a nanocode update. Don't worry, we'll fix it." And they did, like January, and then again in February, and then again in March, but it didn't actually solve the reliability problems, like really. No. So they kind of up and down. So I hope they get it right. Like I'm not like, I can't stand x86 and I desperately need it to die, but I also appreciate that people want to have this choice, and I want it to work. I mean,
would buy Intel over AMD. Why don't you just get AMD?
I know.
Hey guys, it's just they have EUVL working in the US.
That's huge. I agree. That's big.
And it will be awesome when they can give it to some other chip maker that makes chips I want to buy. So right now I just don't like whatever. But
maybe this is it. Let's give them a chance.
That's what I'm saying. I'm willing. We'll see.
They call it, by the way, 18A, which I presume is 18 angstroms, which is like 1.8 nanometers.
Well, these things are not tied to it.
Yeah,
I know it's no longer the
stopped using
measurement of the traces.
They're like, our chips don't look good when I use your math, so we're going to use different numbers.
I'm just interested to see who's operating those machines in Arizona. Like, how many of them are Taiwanese
from Taiwan? I bet you. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But it means if we've at least got a pipeline training up so that you have operable gear, then there could be more. Yeah,
this is a big victory. Yeah,
this just points the way to a war in Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, we've been.
Well, aren't you cheerful?
Well, no, he's right.
That's
I mean, this was always this is. Eventually, we're not going to rely on China so much, and they're going to say, "Yeah, let's rein that one back in."
The new hardware Apple announced today. No, actually, I think it's still China, but the next generation is going to be Vietnam.
Yeah, the rumors are the next gen stuff's going to be Vietnam.
Rumors, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're propagating those machines out and training up a broader range of people, and all of that is good.
That's how they should.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that they're trying to do in India, which is tied to that book, Apple in China, which is the unique nature of China and the companies in China, which is that they're willing to take a loss on everything they're doing for you to learn everything that you're doing, so we can apply it to other companies. Right. And India's like, yeah, we're not doing that. So,
and we're taxing the hell out of it.
India's like, no, we're going to have normal. This will be normal,
hardware.
Right?
Yeah.
And so Apple's like, yeah, but could we get that sweetheart deal that we have in China, because that really helped us a lot. And
that was really Terry Gao
no.
at Foxconn. According to that book, it was the Foxconn guy was willing to just prostrate himself at the feet of Tim Cook in order to get the business.
That company's doing pretty good,
and it worked.
It worked.
It did.
Great.
It was a gamble, but it worked.
But
plus, the Chinese government was willing to give him, effectively. There's no city here; it's just a farmland. But you could build a city here, and then 6 months later,
we'll build a city here. You could just have a city. Here's a city.
They call it iPhone City. It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, China's unique. This is that will never be replicated anywhere. That's part of the problem. No. You can always find a third world country to build stuff in. That's not the issue. It was
getting
all the government.
This is the recovery of Japan back in the 50s.
Interesting. That's what Japan did.
That's what
is it what South Korea did?
It's what we did
for
Japan, I think is what you meant. But yeah, we helped out with that. This was like the Marshall Plan for Europe.
But this was literally Douglas MacArthur, right?
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that Apple in China book, excellent. Highly recommend it.
Brutal.
Even if you're not interested in Apple, it's really about the global
Apple is the tip of the spear, because Uber and Tesla and many other companies have done the same thing in their own industries. They've screwed us over horribly. They're all great. Yep. Our industry is great. Love them all. It's my smart people doing smart things and doing the right thing, frankly, which I love.
Hey, but here's the good news. PC sales jumped in Q3.
That's nice. All of which are made in China. Yes. So, well, according to IDC, right? So, but here's the thing. 9.4% year over year in the most recent quarters.
That's amazing. Is that Windows 11?
It's none of it is in the United States. Like none of it. And that's kind of the weird thing. Like
none of it's in Alaska. I mean, in Canada, right?
None of it's in the United States or anything. Like this is basically flat.
But yeah, okay.
That's for Richard.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, overall.
So you figure the U.S. was left out of that because of the tariffing?
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
But because I also thought we had a push of PCs ahead of the tariffs that bumped the market up. So
we did.
The same thing happened with EVs. EV market went crazy before the end of the month because those subsidies went away.
So now that we're in that period and they're still selling well, what's going on?
They're selling well in other countries. I mean, it's PC. United States was like 1% growth. Asian Pacific is the big one, and then EMEA. Those two combined, it was about
Europe
14%.
And Middle East, right?
Yeah,
and Asia. No, Europe, Middle East.
I think it's like Europe. I don't remember exactly.
And Turkey.
Yeah, like it must be Mediterranean or something. Like I don't know, Europe, Eurasia, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird here. Nothing, right? Just nothing. But okay,
1% compared to 14%. For EMEA and Asian Pacific. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we dragged it down, basically. We're getting used to our new role in the world, so it's fine. We just drag the rest of you guys down. It's good. We have to be good at something.
So people are that responsive to the fact that the price went up $100 and that just killed the sales?
Yeah. I guess so. I mean,
it doesn't seem, maybe it's just me, but it feels like, are people that sensitive that they go, oh, no, not
I don't know. If you follow the price of eggs or guacamole or whatever, people are super sensitive to this stuff.
But there's also the other side of this is you were worried about it. You didn't know how much it was going to be, so you did a bunch of buying in advance.
Ahead of time. Yeah, I think that's more likely.
Now you don't have to do any buying.
That's more likely.
So that did happen, right? And if you go back and look at the two previous quarters this past year, you will see it's 3%, 4%, 5% maybe growth. Like that's where that was. So that was the buy up before the crash or whatever. We'll see. I mean, look, Windows 10 just went out of support, sort of asterisk, and maybe, this in the same way that Windows doesn't get this big update every 3 years and then nothing happens. We just get update. This probably smooths out this spike a little bit too, right? There's no one is like, oh my God, Windows 11 is here. Let's go get a new PC. Windows 11 kind of improves a little bit over time every month, so.
Well, and also I would imagine businesses are pretty sensitive. $100 a unit and you buy 10,000 units. That makes
if you're buying at scale, then you're literally going through the hardware roster and so forth.
Yeah.
Which means you are going to know how much the tariff is. And then you're going to put it off because they change so often. It's like, why would I pay this? Well, just wait a month.
You don't know what it's going to be next month.
That's right.
Yep.
And the bigger issue now is, even if I order, I don't lock in the tariff rate.
Right.
The tariff rate is when it arrives at the port.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very frightening.
I've had two instances this year I can think of, and one of them was just this past week where you have a virtual meeting with some PC company and they show you, here's some new products coming, whatever. And then right before the announcement, they're like, we have a couple of price adjustments, and they changed the price on a couple of the products they're about to announce at the last second, up by $200 to $300 a whack because of this reason, because they didn't build the correct cost into the price because, tariffs.
They couldn't. They didn't know.
Yeah. Well, this was like in the span of a week to 10 days. Like it's weird. Like this has happened now twice I can think of.
I'm trying to think, but I think Framework absorbed the tariff bump because I ordered it well before, like last spring.
Oh, right. Because of the way they do it. Yeah,
and I think they said, we're going to be
paid for it
more.
Then or something. Or
we're going to be paying more, but we're not going to charge you, which is generous of them.
Yeah,
because it just comes off their bottom line.
And we should probably wait another look. If the tariff stays in place and doesn't change for another quarter, those that need machines will buy machines.
They'll have to buy machines.
They just need certainty.
Yep.
You know how I find out how the tariffs are doing? I check my portfolio.
Oh boy, I strongly recommend not babysitting that.
That's a lot of fun.
That's a path to despair.
Let me just check today and see how much money I made or lost. Oh, I'm up. So that means Trump said something that reassured the market, because he did that on Saturday and the market tanked on Friday.
It's amazing
back
he could say anything reassuring other than I'm dying. Anyway.
Ooh. You're going to get some email
too much,
now, Paul.
Too much. Who cares? He's a dick. I don't care about him. All right. So Lenovo.
You're in Mexico. You don't have to worry. I'm in the United States.
Yay.
Be cool.
Some of us have to cross borders, so you know.
You know what?
Well, including me. I mean,
Do you bring? Just out of curiosity, do you bring like dummy phones and laptops that can be searced? No, you never. Nobody's.
I must have told you this story.
We're old white men. We're not going to get.
Right. I'm just go. You're fine.
Yeah.
Except that one of the stories about Mexico is like you come here with some bag of electronics and they stop you in customs and they go through your bag and they're like, sorry, you're only allowed to bring in X amount of dollars worth of stuff. We're going to tax you on this. And they pay you like a fee of $90 or something. Right. So I've heard these stories. I have a friend who this happened to actually at the time worked for Microsoft, and he flew in through Merida out in the Yucatan Peninsula there. I've never seen this in Mexico City ever. I mean, my experience is obviously anecdotal, although I fly here probably more than most people, but whatever. And then the last two trips here, we flew on Aeromexico, not United, and Aeromexico lands in a different terminal. And that terminal has these crazy, they look like tunnels you put your bags through after you exit security or as you exit security, and they scan them again on the way out. And the last time, this time on this trip when we arrived, I brought, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm going to say 4 laptops, 5 phones, you know. I had like a bag full of
smuggling.
Stuff. I'm not. Look,
it's personal use,
you're supposed to be able to show. Like I've been told, like I think Lenovo said to me, like if I could show them the email, like, hey, look, they're telling me I need to review this, and that's what it's my job. I'm not selling it on the street. You know,
does that work?
Right.
I haven't tried it, right? I've never experienced this, right? And so, but now we're standing in line and I'm thinking I made it all the way. Oh, I had the NAS too. I also had my NAS in my luggage, like inside with my clothes. And I'm thinking, this is the time I'm going to get back, right? This is the time.
And he was never seen again.
We're standing in line to go through this tunnel thing. And I'm
Have you ever seen Airport Jail?
I know. Well, Airport Jail in Mexico. I mean, let's elevate it a little bit, right? So there was a sign over it that said something about the cost. If you have over, I think it was $10,000 US in electronics, you know, you could get taxed. And I was like, oh. And I'm like doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm like, man, I think I'm coming in right at the line of this thing. And then, and we had flown through Philadelphia. You go through the security thing. I was, this is happening here. Like I have my NAS in the back, right? You can picture it. Goes through security, stops. Yeah, comes back. And the guy's like,
what the heck is that?
And then the two guys look at it and they're like, you come over here. No, went right through. Right through.
No
and
problem.
I'm like,
don't
listen,
care anymore. You know what?
You should have stopped me. Like I would have stopped me.
Yes,
I didn't want to be stopped. And I was like, I deserve to be stopped. Anyway, but we arrive in Mexico. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is happening. 2 guys looking at the screen. My bags go through 5 laptops, whatever it said. And then the bag with the NAS, and they like, doop, just come at the end, nothing. They didn't pause. They didn't look twice. They're like, no problem. So I don't know.
Do they do that thing? I think they do, where as you walk out, there's a button and you hit it, right?
No.
And
if it goes, then you get it. You get.
Oh no, I do. No, I've never seen that. But that's
you haven't seen that.
So we arrived when we left Mexico. No. Oh yeah, no. So we arrived in Mexico. We're here for 2 days. We flew to Hawaii. So that morning, it was like 4:30 in the morning. And I got pulled. The guy came over with the sign, said something in Spanish, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand that." And he holds up this sign in English that says, "You've been specially selected for an additional security something, whatever it said." Yeah. And I was like, "Yay!" And he was like, "That was not the reaction I expected." And I'm like, "I have 2 hours to kill, man. Take your time.
Let's go. Let's have some fun."
And I was flying with 1 laptop, like a normal human being, like on this trip.
So I'm kind of lonely, and I haven't been touched in a while. So come on in.
Yeah, get aggressive, man. I took a shower this morning. Everything's good, but no, it was fine.
I think it might have been Cabo or Cancun, like a tourist area, but they have a button as you're leaving.
I think these more stringent things are in other airports in Mexico. Like I think that's the deal.
Mexico City, they're probably
you don't see them in Mexico City.
Yeah. All right, let's take a little break. And by the way, we have a show title. You've been specially selected. We'll get back to Windows Weekly in just a bit with Paul Thurrott from Thurrott.com and Richard Campbell of .NET Rocks. Yes, we have a lovely little red wheat something coming along. In just a moment.
We do.
Yes, wow. And many other wonderful delectables. As you continue to listen to Windows Weekly, our show today brought to you by Bitwarden. It's funny that you mentioned that other password guy just added support for YubiKey. Bitwarden's had YubiKey support for as long as I can remember. This is the password manager I recommend, the trusted leader and our sponsor in passwords, passkeys, and secrets management. They do it all. I put everything in Bitwarden because I know it's safe, it's trusted. Open source means no backdoors. Bitwarden is consistently ranked number 1 in user satisfaction by G2 and software reviews with more than 10 million users across 180 countries. It's really gaining momentum. In fact, this kind of surprised me. Over 50,000 businesses. Sure, businesses more than anybody need to protect their passwords. You've got your employees have the keys to the kingdom. You got to make sure that they're keeping them secure, right? You know that more than, get ready for this, 19 billion with a B passwords are available on the dark web right now. Here's the scary part. 94% of them have been reused. They're reused across accounts. This is a massive problem because this leads to what they call credential stuffing attacks, where bad guys get these, giant dumps of email addresses and passwords, and they know you're going to reuse them, right? You don't because you're smart, but your employees might. And so what they do is they go from account to account to account, trying the same login and password. And if it's been reused, chances are they're going to get in. InfoStealer malware threats surged by 500% in the last year alone. See, these days, modern hackers, they don't hack accounts. They don't have to. They log in with weak or reused passwords. It's easy. No work involved at all. In fact, there's even tools to do it automatically, right? You just hammer away. Bitwarden Access Intelligence. This is something you want to know about in enterprises. A new enterprise feature. It allows enterprises to proactively defend against internal credential risks and external phishing threats. There's 2 core functionalities here. There's the risk insights, which allows your IT team to identify, prioritize, and remediate at-risk credentials. You probably see this in the consumer version where it says, that password is I've seen it in a data dump. This is like that on steroids. It's for enterprise risk insights. They also have an advanced phishing blocker, which alerts and redirects users away from known phishing sites. It does it in real time. It's using a continuously updated open source block list of malicious domains. Everything helps. Security is not a single solution. It's a layered solution. And these things can really make a difference. And then I gotta give a plug for passwordless authentication. Microsoft was early in on this. It's transforming digital security. As always, Bitwarden is on the forefront, offering support for passkeys, which I am now a huge fan of. I highly recommend using Bitwarden for your passkeys, not your device. Because if you use your phone, for instance, and store the passkeys there, you got to have your phone, right? Bitwarden's on everything I use. So I know that's where my passkeys are stored because they're always available to me. They also support FIDO2 standards, which is great for the YubiKey and other hardware keys to strengthen and simplify the login experience. Bitwarden's passkey support includes enhanced passkey support across web, desktop, and mobile platforms, enabling you to store and sync passkeys in Bitwarden with end-to-end encryption, so they're absolutely safe. 2-step login with FIDO2 or WebAuthn allows that. We were just talking about YubiKey, but it doesn't have. There's many ways to do this, but hardware key authentication. That could be your second factor, or it could be your primary method for supported logins. In fact, nowadays, a lot of people log into their operating system using a hardware key. And of course, biometric unlock enhancements like Windows Hello on mobile and desktop, streamlining access, Face ID, Touch ID without compromising security. All of this means you can have high security and it's still convenient. It's still easy to use. And that's important because your employees are not going to use it if it's complicated, if it's hard to use, if they have to dig in their wallet and get out something and it's too complicated, it's not going to be used. Improved autofill experiences for passkeys and cards and identities, which means Bitwarden now logs in seamlessly in many cases across modern browsers and apps. I tell you, the more I use it, the more I love it. And I use it everywhere. And I especially love it for passkeys. I mean, to me, it's the best passkey solution out there. You'll be glad to know it's very easy to move to Bitwarden. The setup only takes a few minutes. They support importing for most password management solutions. And I'm of the opinion, personally, that anything that uses crypto has to be open source. Otherwise, how can you trust it? Bitwarden, of course, is open source. That means the code, it's GPL licensed. It can be inspected by anybody. And to add to their security, they regularly audit with third-party experts. So even if you're not reading the source code, somebody who really knows what they're doing is, and they publish those results because they care. They meet SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, CCPA compliance. They're ISO 27001-2002 certified. They're secure. They're the best. There's nothing better. Open source, highly secure. And you can try it for free. Get started today with a Bitwarden free trial of a Teams or Enterprise plan. And if you're an individual, get started for free across all devices, including hardware keys, pass keys. As an individual user, unlimited passwords at bitwarden.com/twit. That's bitwarden.com/twit. They have the best free offer. I mean, it's fully functional. And here's the best part, because it's open source. I asked him, I said, well, you're not going to do a rug pull at some point and say, well, enough of that free thing. No, they said, we can't. We're open source. We can't. Somebody would just fork it. So free for individuals forever. Bitwarden.com/twit. I know you use it, or at least you use some password manager. But if you've got friends and family who are resistant, saying, I don't want to pay for a password manager, tell them Bitwarden's free for individuals. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank them so much. Let's talk AI. What do you say?
Yeah. So I've been kind of coming to this over time, and I this is not the full kind of thought on this, but I wanted to get something out just to kind of get this conversation started. But the two little bits of recent history to think about is back in late 2023. I think it was actually, I think it was when Snapdragon, or when Qualcomm announced the Snapdragon X, Satya Nadella appeared. And at the time, remember, they had just sort of forced Copilot out into the world ahead of 23H2. And he said, Satya, that Copilot was going to be like Start, the new Start, right? The orchestrator of all your app experiences. And then more recently, Pavan Davaluri, who runs Windows, said in a vision video, which is something Microsoft hasn't made in a long time, at least the Windows group, that Windows would be, kind of taking an AI term and applying it to Windows, like multimodal, meaning that, we'll have keyboards, we'll have mice and touchpads, we'll have, pen if you have that kind of thing, multi-touch, et cetera. But we're also going to have two things. He said natural language interactions and vision, meaning that in this case, your computer will be aware of what's going on around you, but more typically the screen, right? I think when you're on a phone, it makes a lot of sense for it to be aware of the outside world, because you can, what is this building? What does this thing do, et cetera. So both of those things I just described were roundly met with a lot of criticism from kind of the traditional old school Windows guys like me, like guys who've been around a while and just maybe struggle with the fact that we tried to turn computers into tablets for a little while, you know, whatever. Like, no, we don't need this. The thing is, this is fairly inevitable, I think. And at first it will be additive. Of course it will. That's how we make those transitions, right? Mm-hmm. But when you think about making apps programmatic from the outside, when you think about simple, stupid little features in Windows where you can right click an image and say, AI services, remove this background in Paint, right? Where you're seeing the first step toward that app actually not needing to be there, as a thing that you interact with directly. Of course, it will be for the short term and maybe forever for some audiences or for some types of devices. But really, this is that if then, do this, whatever, this kind of power automate, however you want to frame it. Yeah, this world of automating app features, right? So we have online services that kind of do this today, but apps are going to increasingly do this. And I think that in the course of this shift, we're going to really change what apps are. And I think for a lot of people, apps kind of go away, right? So
I would say certain classes of apps, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, and this past week, for example, OpenAI announced app support, like third-party app support in ChatGPT. So one of the things I just did this morning, just as a little test. You can go to you connect ChatGPT to your Spotify account, and then you say, "Hey, I'd like a playlist for this weekend. I would like it to be this kind of song, bright, poppy, blah blah blah, whatever kind of songs." It asks you a couple of questions. Do you like particular kinds of music? Do you want them to be different, certain eras? There's a little bit of feedback there. And then it makes the playlist and it adds it to Spotify. And interesting, right? Now I did, because I'm me, I typed this into, the key, like with the keyboard, like a jerk. But I mean, a lot of people will just say this and it will just happen. And then they'll walk into the living room on Friday night maybe and say, hey, whatever thing they're using for AI, here's the name of the playlist, and just play it. And this is maybe a stupid one-off example, but that's kind of the point, because if you think about any of the apps that we currently use on a day-to-day basis, whatever we might do with those things, and you can see how some of the apps, like the apps that are built into Windows, the apps that come in Microsoft Office, are starting to support this kind of functionality. You can kind of go to this logical kind of endpoint where we're not going to be launching an app, Yeah. And I think it's interesting that this language is being used now. Like when OpenAI announced this feature for ChatGPT, at least one publication said something to the tune of, ChatGPT is coming an operating system. I'm like, yeah, not exactly. We have platforms that have apps and have app models and they're platforms or whatever. But then again, I mean, if you think back to like Netscape, and this notion of reducing Windows to this set of badly written device drivers, like it becomes like a front end for most of what you do in the day. The point of like a Arc browser or DNO is that we do most of our work in the browser. Yeah, we have to boot up into an operating system, but this is where we work. And you could see ChatGPT turning into that, or Copilot, or whatever AI.
Piece of it. I mean, the example I use is somebody who works in accounts receivable and currently uses an ERP system. In the end, all that data is sitting in a database. If I mark up that data so they have the correct amount of writes to it, we can literally have a set of prompts that retrieve the information that they would need. I
mean, in any given situation, if it's a shared computer, maybe in a retail situation or like a coffee shop, whatever it is, you try to come up with this UI that's simple enough for the people there to use it. They don't have to be computer users. They don't have to understand how things work. They don't have to launch multiple apps. I've been in an IKEA where one time they couldn't find the thing they needed in the IKEA app, which to them was the UI. And they had to go to another guy who just switched over to something else, typed some stuff in, found the thing they were looking for. I could see AI doing that, right? And,
but you speak to the reality of it. Somebody who works in accounts receivables job isn't to run an ERP piece of software. It's to collect receivables.
It's to do the thing.
Thing. And the tool is supposed to serve for doing the thing.
That's right.
And so these are new tools to do the thing.
Yep. Yeah. And look, I know for certain people, AI is still this stupidity that is half fake, and it's just, do whatever they think of AI.
Yeah,
whatever.
But the other half.
But, I mean, the reality is there's some of that. Yes. I mean, I don't want to I'm not saying that's completely incorrect, but anything that can make things easier. Like earlier I mentioned Photoshop as kind of an obvious example. So the top heavy app, a million, features, Office apps are like this. But then, even like a relatively simple app like Paint or Notepad, which are both getting more sophisticated.
Yep.
Are now becoming programmatic. I don't know. This is my language. This is not how Microsoft describes it. Maybe there's a better way to say what I'm saying. But I always tie this back to the old, DDE, OLE, COM stuff from the 1990s where
ActiveX, yeah.
Yeah, and ActiveX being the logical endgame, because once they brought it out to that network, it was like, oh shoot, this is like actually really insecure. But the point of this is, at the time, was basically app to app communication, right? You copy and paste is the earliest example of this. You have one app over here that does whatever it does, and then you have this other thing over here, and you're going to copy here, paste here. If they support the same file formats and stuff, great. But if they don't, that has to work intelligently. So if you could do this yourself, you take a rich document in Word and copy it to the clipboard, paste it into Notepad, you're going to get a plain text representation of that thing. Right. And there's some intelligence to that, right? There's something in the system that makes that work properly. It's smart. And this is it's not even the next gen, it's the next gen, but whatever. It's you're basically treating an app like an online service. It has public connections or public interfaces, I guess is the better word, that expose themselves. And this is the contract, date back to the contract thing we had in Windows 8, that an app could promote itself as being compatible with whatever contracts, right? And so when you right click on a text document in Windows 11, it's the same system essentially, right? What documents can do can do something with that thing, and then what options will appear there. And it's interesting how granular it can get because, the simple example is remove the background, which I've done, and I have a screenshot of it, but right click an image, remove background paint comes up, background's gone, and then you can save it, do whatever you want with it, right? This is a kind of a brave new world for apps.
If you stay with the paint metaphor, there's still a moment where you want to draw with a brush.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
There is, and that's why that. But there is for some people, maybe is the way to say that, right?
Yeah. But there's another schism here, which is as a piece of software gets more sophisticated, the menus get deeper. You just can't find things anymore.
I know.
So there's a whole class of features.
We're already seeing this right now. Yeah. And this is where things are going to get complex. I'm curious how Microsoft or the Windows team, whatever, is going to deal with that, because right now, depending on what system you're running, if you have a Copilot PC, et cetera, you're going to see like that Windows 11 menu is like this, and now it's like, and it's got all those like offshoots, and it's like, But I think the end of apps has a lot to do with it's almost like the identity of the thing is what goes away, because when you right click an image and you want to remove the background, you want to remove the background. You don't want to remove the background with paint. I don't care what's doing it. Just do it.
Like I wanted to,
and that's going to be an interesting problem for people that make apps, right? Because they want their identity to be there. They want you to launch the app and do the thing, not for you to right click and just have it happen. This is the Windows Phone problem, by the way.
This is also what AI has been doing, though, is taking over.
Yeah.
For artists.
Yeah. So
for app creators, it's doing it all.
It's like
the real question, though, is do you want a voice interface? I think we know now that people don't really want to talk to their computers.
I'm not sure about that, honestly. Right. So it's true. It's true because the nature of computers, it's kind of an old school tool. It's the thing you kind of go to when you have to, in a way. Like, if I can get this done on my phone, I'm going to do it on my phone, but I need a big screen, or I need to type a lot, or whatever it might be. Use a laptop, whatever. I think it's a tougher sell on a computer than, say, on a mobile device. But
I guess you're right.
There are people walking around just talking to their phones all day long.
I generally see people resist talking to their devices when it doesn't work, because the only thing dumber than talking to your phone is saying the same thing over
yourself
and
repeating yourself.
And so as it works more reliably, people are more likely to use it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the problem with these voice devices like the Echo and Siri, is they don't.
But
they're stupid.
But this is a transition, right? So
right.
In the beginning, you could think about the Stevie Batiste 3 app models if you want, however you want to frame it. But in the beginning, you add AI capabilities to existing apps. They could be outside the app, it could be inside the app. But ultimately, you're just you're interacting with AI. In Windows, when we switched over to Windows 95, and I bet this is still in there somewhere in WinINI or something, you could change your the default shell back to progman.exe. And we're not literally going to get to the point where it's like chatgpt.exe becomes the shell, but I think it's more like ambient computing, where you're not really necessarily even thinking about what it is you're interacting with. Like that, depending on the task, if it's simple enough or whatever.
Well, especially if you're wearing a nerd helmet or,
well, in the context of your own home, like I would imagine walking around just talking, and getting, you think about how agents work, and a lot of times what you're doing is setting it off to go do some task, and sometimes it takes some time, it comes back later, whatever.
This has been the holy grail of computing since as long as I can remember.
Yeah. But I guess my point is, you can see the steps taken toward that goal, even in something as humble as Windows 11, with all these old school apps that we've had for 30 to 40 years, whatever. are becoming more sophisticated. Everyone gets a little, I can't believe they're screwing with Notepad again. But again, like the point of it is to get us ready almost to, like, here's an interim step. And then eventually we're just going to be, well, look, you can type if you want, but you can talk and accomplish the same thing. I mean,
so is Microsoft well positioned in this new world, or is it going to be somebody like OpenAI that wins?
Yep. I mean, they both have their own good position in a way. I think Microsoft obviously has their historic strength in productivity services with Office, et cetera, et cetera. They have strengths in businesses just with all the management and identity and et cetera there. ChatGPT has like the Kleenex advantage. It is so well known and
right.
Almost
and they've just recently announced their platform play, so they're trying to get there.
That's right. And you can see these two companies are like doing their things, but
oh yeah. And the M365 play is one thing, but if I was in the Dynamics team right now, I'd be in the midst of a huge rethink.
Yep.
And look at what's happened with Visual Studio in the Insider's Edition of 2026.
That's right.
They are rethinking Visual Studio.
That's right.
There's no two ways about it.
Visual Studio is a great example of a Photoshop type app where it's, if you know this thing inside and out, you're in great shape because it can do everything. It's incredible.
The problem is there isn't anybody left.
That's right.
Like there's too many things in Studio.
Yeah, we used to talk as far away, as long in as in the past as the mid 90s. Like there's no one human being that can keep NT in their head. You know, we have like Mark Lukowski knows the file system or whatever, and Cutler knows the kernel, whatever it was, right? But our world today is dramatically more complex.
But do people in the office want to talk to their computer? Because that's where there is a definite.
People don't want to be in an office, for starters. So
well, that's true. We're all at home now, so who cares?
No, well, to Pavan Devalori's point, these things will be multimodal, right? So some of it will be just up to the comfort level or the use case of the individual involved, whatever they're doing. Some of it might be based on the location. Yeah. So if you're in an office, especially if it's one of those stupid open offices where everyone's in the same room and we're all like, talking to each other and, screwing up everyone else's calls. Like, you don't want that, obviously. But
although I'm thinking about Spike Jonze, and he was the only really interface he had was voice to that computer at work. He was having it write those letters, remember? And it was all, he was talking to it.
Yeah.
And everybody in the office was kind of talking in hushed
I think we kind of knee-jerk reject this kind of thing, but the reality is, I thought, so here, when Copilot started happening 2.5 years ago, ChatGPT obviously was huge. It's like, so I'm like, excuse me, 40 years after the GUI revolution, you're telling me we're going to start typing to these things again? Like, that didn't make any sense to me. No one can type. We can't, who types? Like, I can't, I can type, but I mean, like most people I don't know. So we can all talk at least, unless you're Irish, obviously. But I mean, like most people can, you can talk. You can talk to the screen. And I know it's bizarre for some of us, especially people my age, are like, you'll pry this mouse from my cold dead fingers or whatever. But okay,
there's a difference in what you type and what you say, though. And I think these tools lend themselves more to speech than they do typing.
I was curious what you're going to say. I agree with that 100%, because this is that weird, I don't know if it's a paradox, but one of the weird things about AI today is that search taught us to be very terse,
right?
Get to the point, get the answer, get out of there.
Put it in quotes.
AI is actually better if you kind of blab a little bit, and that's more natural when you're talking. Yeah. You're like, I want a playlist that's like fun, but I don't want any depressing songs. And I'd like to have like some sunny songs and, like you can just babble.
It's true.
But you would never type that. What I just said is ridiculous. Imagine
I
trying
haven't
to type
typed, even once.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I just feel like the end game here is almost preordained in a sense. It's just a matter of getting there, and you can now understand that one of the things that comes out of this is like you understand why the companies that make platforms like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and I guess to some degree, Meta and also Amazon, are all of the companies involved in big tech that are doing AI, right? Because this is the biggest threat ever to their entrenched empires, right? If apps go away the way I just said they are going to, then the App Store that Apple has and the Google Play Store don't matter anymore. And that is those companies. Like, that's a big chunk of what those companies are. They're going to fight that, right? Or they're going to do something like in Apple's case, they'll probably do a really good job eventually of making it make sense to stick with an iPhone, because that's where they really make money. And you'll have whatever access to AI you have on those devices. And that's good for them, but no one else can do that business model. So Google, Apple, Amazon to some degree, Google, Microsoft, Amazon to some degree, they're really going to have to think this stuff through. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I think it's monthly subscription fees, which is a proven concept, obviously. I don't know.
But the whole computer, the whole desktop computer, even the laptop is designed around.
I know. That's going away. That's the next step. So I did literally at the end of the article, I'm like, look, this goes off in a million directions. One of them's hardware. So yes, you're right.
Maybe that's why the Vision Pro, as stupid as it was,
right,
made sense in a sense because you're stepping towards that future. It's not the end game, but
100%.
Well, one of the arguments is that we're going to need generative AI to make augmented reality work.
Right.
If you handed there are videos of this. You'll hand a kid a rotary phone, and they're like, "All right, I think this thing might be a phone. I don't understand what this thing is." They don't get that. But here's the thing: you could hand anyone alive today who has used a computer, right? A manual typewriter from the 1920s, and they would be like, all right, I understand what this thing does, basically. Like, there's no screen, but like, you get it. In many ways, the PC this is not fair, but less of an advance off the manual typewriter than Vision Pro or that kind of stuff is off of a PC, right? Because this is the fundamental way that you interact with these things changes, I think at some point forever, like for certain things. And yes, in the interim, we're still going to type, we're still going to mouse, we're still going to write, whatever, multi-touch, whatever. Some devices can go away, some will need to stay, whatever. But things are going to change. Yeah, so
it's a disruptive time, and certainly the tech companies you listed, they all recognize that their current business models are being disrupted, and so they don't want to be the innovator's dilemma person lagging behind. They're trying to get in front of it.
One of the many things I left out of this article, but it's burning in my mind, is this notion of web browsers as these Uber apps that we do so much in, and how they're evolving. And I have to think they have to go away. No one reads. No one browses. And I know people here are viscerally reacting to that negatively. I get it. Like, you guys are the exception. I am too. But realistically, we have been trained over a period of decades now to have smaller and smaller attention spans. Most of us can barely handle a 20-second TikTok video, let alone read a 3,000-word article on the web. Like, in the sense, it's like, if the keyboard goes away, how are we going to write? My answer is no one's going to write because no one's reading anyway. So what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. Like, it changes everything. It's more disturbing and more profound the more you get into it. Which is why I kind of wrote this thing, and I'm like, look, I just gotta.
But also, the more suspicious you get, right? There's some great studies showing that the better educated you are in utilizing these technologies, the less you trust them. But the least knowledgeable trust them the most.
Yeah, but the one thing I've noticed in my little area is just that because AI will do something wrong that you try early on, highly technical people will sometimes say, see, this thing doesn't work, and they'll never look again. And you got to be careful with that, because this stuff has been evolving so quickly now for 2.5 years. And it's just, I'm not saying it's accelerated, but it certainly hasn't slowed down. And if you tried something 6 months ago or a year ago or something that didn't work, you
need to take another look.
Try again.
It also hasn't been a straight line. Like, there's a big debate right now where the GPT-5 is actually a step backwards.
Yeah, right. Which, by the way,
we have done the sprint now to the edges of what the OpenAI paper in 2020 says: just build a bigger model and all will be well.
That
which
might
goes
be
againth everything that machine learning
they're trying to promote,
us.
Of course. I mean, but look, they've got their own strategies and intents. But to me, what you just said, and I think you're correct, is that might be one of the first visible signs of this thing maturing, right?
Yep.
It's like when you say, we could talk about Intel chips and be like, well, they came up with Arrow Lake, and it's a push forward for performance, but it's a push backwards for efficiency, and the NPU stinks. It's like the old 13 tops thing that nobody wants. Okay. But we're in the middle of this transition, and the next one will be better, and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like maybe that is what we're saying. is the case with GPT-5. Like, it's like, well, you hit a point, you're doing great. You a few steps forward, a few steps back. I mean, but this is where it kind of starts, normalizing.
Yeah, we could get deeply into the weeds of like what's going on for GPT-5. But But it is, I do agree with you in the sense that the sprint to bigger is better seems to be over.
Yeah, and so Leo earlier was talking about his framework PC, and he's like, I don't even know why I need local AI. And it's like, you know what? Actually, I think it's important to be on the front end of that and see what's going on, because I do think that's going to be really big. And that stuff, just like the stuff in the cloud, gets better and better and better.
I got to tell you, what's on the mind of European developers here at this conference is getting off U.S. servers, not being dependent on U.S. company.
And local AI that actually works, right? And
be one element of it.
Yep.
Right? But it is a talking point. The data sovereignty suddenly took a step up in priority these past few months.
And if you don't have top level cloud vendors in EU that are like on par with whatever Google, Microsoft, Amazon are doing, this helps. This gets you to is it good enough? It definitely, if you're doing, not that anyone is doing this pretty much as a job per se, but image generation, no. But the text stuff, maybe not generation, maybe, I don't actually know, but summarize, rewrite, that stuff actually works really well on local AI right now. And that's something Microsoft has made very easy for companies to, for developers rather, to take advantage of in their own apps, right? And so, it's all part of the process, but I don't know, like, LibreOffice or something like that, you can imagine they're going to be like, all right, so if you have like a Mac or a Copilot Plus PC that has a pretty good NPU, you can do this stuff with AI that will impact your writing, but it stays on the device. Privacy, love that in Europe, right? I think that those are good things. And those are good things. Honestly, they're good things for everybody. But as far as the industry goes, I think that stuff, I think it will, across the board, be good enough pretty quick, for most mainstream things,
Yeah. There's still a lot of hoops to be jumping through.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
We have a ways to go, but clearly the market is disrupted.
The good news is the turbo button has been pressed in on the front of the computer, and we're going pretty quick.
Right? We're at 8 megahertz now.
That's right. Yeah. Turbo boost.
Some of my games are unplayable.
Exactly. They move so fast you can't even talk to them. All right. And then these last two we can go through pretty quick. In the AI section, Microsoft this past week announced MAI Image 1, its first image generation model, so generative AI, to create photorealistic imagery. So this is the second major in-house model Microsoft has created without any involvement whatsoever, supposedly, from OpenAI. Actually, I guess it's the third, because they had a general one, then a voice one. So now we're doing an image. I would assume videos on the way, but I don't think, I'm trying to say, there's no way to access this in a Microsoft tool right now. It's kind of weird. Like you can, there's a tool called LM Arena, which is like I think it's an open source platform for testing AI models. So you can kind of go check it out that way. But
probably it's on Hugging Face too, I would guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. Early days, but this is Microsoft just kind of, like, we can do this, we can do it. So,
yeah, but why? I mean, I just can't.
Because they want to get rid of
subscription
because ChatGPT.
And Banana is so good.
I know, I saw it.
Yeah, but you can't blame them for not wanting to be dependent on other vendors.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
especially OpenAI.
And Google has rightfully kind of been like, yeah, Microsoft's doing pretty good. I mean, they're using someone else's models, but they're a competitor.
Fee was good. Microsoft has good models. OpenAI was, but I think people forget, was kind of its hedging its bets. It wasn't that it didn't have it. Yeah. It just, anyway.
Well, I mean, it's sort like OpenAI's Sora model is to video what Nano Banana is to images, right? I mean,
but then Google just updated Veo, so
of course
it's a arms race here. It is an arms race.
Yep. You can't go a single day without someone advancing.
That's why I love doing intelligent machines. There's so much news.
Oh, you'll never stop talking about this.
We rarely get to a quarter of the stories. It's so much stuff to talk about.
I know. So I ran into that problem with this show in the notes, and I'm trying to.
This was a good discussion. I'm glad you brought the AI app space up. I've been trying to get people to talk about this because once OpenAI announced that at Developer Days, I thought, yeah, you know what? This is the next platform. Yep. I don't know if it's OpenAI. I don't know who's going to own this.
They're all going to do it. It's a question of which will be the most popular.
You know who may end up winning? Somebody like Perplexity.
Right.
Orchestrating a variety of models. You know, they're maybe in a better position than anybody.
They're interesting because they offered out of the blue to buy, remember Chrome for whatever that was, 30 bucks or whatever. Yeah. And it was like, stunt. You might, I know, but it's like, you might not actually need a browser, guys.
No kidding. That's right.
I think that's going away.
Coggy's getting very active about this kind of thing. They keep adding new features.
Yeah.
I think people see this as the next big thing, and everybody's working their butt off to get it.
Kagi is in that Cory Doctorow book, and I was just watching an interview with him that was for the past week or two, and he was talking about how when this thing first came out, it was just Google search, but they didn't do all the tailoring for advertising and stuff. And he's like, we're just using Google search and it works great. It stinks for everyone else. If you go to google.com, it's terrible. But if you use it through us, it's awesome. And that's a really good example of, kind of enshirtification there. It's like take something that works great, but screw it up for users because it's better for your business customers or just for you, in general. It's a weird business model. But
it's a good book.
Yeah, it
just
is.
Came out. Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't intending. Where are we with time? I can't even see the clock.
Oh, we're almost out of time. All right, so I shouldn't ask you any questions.
There's one thing in this book where I'm like, I'm not sure that's true. We'll get there. I'm going to review it, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah. When you review it, I'd love to.
There's one thing I'm like, I don't know, and I researched it. And I'm like, I don't know, but anyway, most of it's awesome. Opera Neon, right? This is the paid-only browser, but it gives you
another example, like Perplexity and Kagi, of where that's the play.
Yeah, Perplexity, Comet, and this one to me are the two ones that so far are like just way out there. Yep.
Yeah.
So they just in the past week have added support for both Sora 2, which is the video model from OpenAI, and Nano Banana, which is the image generation model from Google Gemini 2.5 Flash or whatever it is. So yeah, if you're paying for this thing, you get that stuff, right? So
is it a good browser just on its own merits?
Yeah. Opera's a little interesting, strange, interesting, whatever you want to say, because they have multiple browsers for some reason. So they have the Opera, flagship browser. They have Opera Neon, which is their new AI agentic browser. They have Opera Air, which is the mindfulness kind of browser, which is a little lightweight minimalist. They have Opera GX, which is for gamers. It's like, I kind of feel like you should have one browser and maybe have those as modes or whatever you want to do it. But yeah, I would say of this, this is moving quick, but of these first gen kind of agenic browsers, whatever you want to say it.
You don't have an invite by any chance, do you? Hanging around.
I don't know.
No,
I will look.
No, I have Sora for Neon.
For Neon. If that's something I can do, I'll do that for you.
Send it to me. Yeah, because I would like to try it. It's not free though, right? Eventually you have to pay for it.
Yeah, so I think for if you're a journalist, I think they give you 3 months to give it a shot. Right. And you can also for the first year I think you buy 9 months, but it costs the same as 3 months or something. You can get it cheap if you do want to pay, or maybe pay. I don't know. But yeah, it's very good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I can't decide what browser to use. It's all your fault.
This is no. You know what?
It's all your fault, Paul.
Browsers are suddenly changing a lot, and this is something maybe it's tied to this app thing I wrote, but a year and a half ago, it was like these are the apps. This is kind of what the browser company was saying too. Like these are the apps we use the most. Why do they just still work like it's 1998? Like the UI is the same. We have tabs. We have whatever. It's like okay, but this is like an app platform. Like this is the computer, this should be more sophisticated, but I feel like actually, I think web browsers are going to go like any other app. I think they're going to fall to AI. Like I think, AI is going to, I don't know, take over those use cases maybe.
I'm very intrigued as always by all this stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's scary. It's weird.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get ready for the Xbox segment. So I don't know, is there a special helmet you like to wear? Anything you want to, any costume you want to put, any cosplay?
We used to have a theme song.
Did we? For the Xbox?
For the Xbox segment. Yeah, it was the Halo.
Well, we have a theme song now. It's the one they play at funerals. What's it called?
The Xbox segment.
Yeah.
Coming up. You're watching Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell. We'll be back.
It's a little Warhammer-ish, you know.
It is it's kind of spooky.
Yeah. Well, it's got that. It's a religious undertone too. Like,
yeah. It also sounds like people singing, like Cortana
like
and her gang are in there. And anyway, it is. Wait a minute. I thought, okay, now this first story is the contrary of what I had read, that Target and Walmart were going to pull the Xboxes.
Right. No, Costco pulled the Xbox. Target and Walmart said, no, we're going to keep selling these things.
As long as they keep making them.
They'll take up a lot of space on the shelf. It's fine. I don't know. So this is a weird thing for Microsoft because there are these persistent rumors, which, understandable. They have to kind of respond, and they're like, no, they're not, whatever. Okay. I don't know. I heard from someone who had worked at Target, and they were like, listen, you can't walk into a Target, ask someone who works there what they're doing, and expect to get corporate policy. That's just not the way it works. I mean, that's what like some sites are doing. They're like, oh, I went to my local Target, and they said, yeah, we don't have any Xboxes. Well, good for you. Like, that does nothing to do with Target, but we'll see.
It's not surprising. Costco tends to have an internal return policy.
That's right.
So they often
very liberal. That's my guess.
You're talking with their consumers. I'm saying on their vendors, like, you don't get to have stuff in Costco.
That's right.
If they can't just pack it all and send it back to you.
Yep. And that's what I think that was the bar that Microsoft could not meet.
It's so generous. And why it's very hard on vendors to sell stuff.
Yeah.
To Costco.
Yeah. Costco does have a dedicated Snapdragon section now. So, just saying. So I guess they meet the bar. I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of the Halo music, what is now called Halo Studios, there's they're calling him an industry veteran, published this thing on LinkedIn. He left the company after 17 years. So he must have been there through 343 Industries and probably Bungie before that, right? And he he minced his words a little bit, but he's like, I know it seems like things are really bad. They're way worse than you think they are. And it's like, but we don't have his name, so he wasn't that stormy out. You want to be careful, I guess, obviously. And he very specifically said, like, look, I have an NDA. There's a lot of things I can't say right now. But it's bad. It's bad. But this makes sense. I mean, look, at the end of the day, video games are some kind of artistic content. They're a lot like a movie, a TV show, whatever content you want to compare it to. These games, especially the one he was working on, these are very expensive games, massive teams of people. This industry is going to be completely revamped with AI. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And, that might
and was begging for it, right? Like, we've been talking literally for years about it's too expensive to make a tier 1 game.
Actually, let me tell you what happens when you don't use AI. You get Black Ops 7, right? So,
well, now you're talking about the whole other issues. You spent $200 million in 4 years building this game, and it sucks. So this is tough.
Black Ops 7. This is the second time in the modern era of Call of Duty where they just basically made a sequel to the previous game with another studio. They built on it. It's the same game, basically. So what I'm looking at, because I care about multiplayer, and very specifically like hardcore multiplayer modes. So it's kind of a sliver of the game, but this is what I see, is the same game, a couple of different capabilities. There's probably different weapons and all that. Like, who cares? Like, it's collections of weapons and loadouts and kill streaks that they're not calling score streaks, whatever they're calling it. Who cares? And what it comes down to ultimately is the levels, right? And the 3 and then 4 levels they made available during the public beta, which I think just came to a close, were some of the most terrible multiplayer levels I've ever experienced in Call of Duty. And I hated it. I hated it so much that I just went back to playing Black Ops 6. And look, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to get it through Game Pass, whatever. But I'm sure some of them will be good, you know. But going back to Black Ops 6 was kind of like a refreshing, like it was like I appreciate it a little bit more because some of those levels, the multiplayer levels, are actually very good. And that's a problem because, like, I keep using this example because it's where my brain's at. But it's like you have all this data. You know what people play over time. You know when people get into a game and they're like, nope, and they leave. And you can train AI on this and say, make games like or levels like this. They didn't do that. They made garbage levels. Oh, and I feel like humans made them. And I'm not saying get rid of the humans exactly, but like, I don't know, like maybe do something there. I don't know.
Well, it's like I said, a lot of the gaming industry is seriously demoralized. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Like it's just, they're in a real state right now. So I'm not surprised that they're struggling for quality of product.
Yep. Now, there's way worse news than what I just said because that piece of junk Minecraft movie is going to have a sequel now, and that means
that movie is beloved, friend.
More
not by
Jack
me.
Black.
Yes,
I just want to remind
Jack
people,
Black on a chicken. Yes, I know.
Now, Jack Black was in the Borderlands movie.
Yeah,
and look, if you're in the right frame of mind, by which I mean like drunk and really tired, that movie is actually hilarious. But it's hilarious in like a stupid way. Yeah. Like this movie, I can't bring myself to get through this.
I started it too, and I couldn't. And I love Jack Black.
But do you?
Yeah, if you're gonna, just go watch Nacho Libre. You'll be happier.
Yeah, like School of Rock, even like
he kind of is a game character, really, in real life. So
I just hear his voice coming out of that stupid little robot in Borderlands, and I want to kick it across the room. Like I just hate it so much.
Yeah, that could be annoying. I agree.
Not good. Anyway. I mentioned Black Ops 6. If you don't own this game for some reason, and you have a Game Pass, I don't even understand what this means because you get this game through Game Pass. Well, anyway, it's free to play for the next couple of days. I'm not even sure what that means. That's the one I've been playing. It's pretty good within the context of these games. And then there was that weird little Sony AMD announcement. Did you see this thing? Did anyone want to watch this?
No.
So
what was this?
One morning I get up and Laurent, the guy who writes news, is like, he's like, there's this new video out with the guy, some guy from AMD and some guy from PlayStation. And I'm like, oh my God, they're seizing the day. They can see all the stuff that's going wrong with Xbox. And they're like, all right, we're going to show leadership here. We're going to be like, we're making a next gen console. We're doing this awesome stuff. I challenge you to watch this and have any idea what the heck they're talking about. They just talk about these really esoteric kind of GPU features. And he does at the very end of the video, the guy from PlayStation says something about, within a couple of years, this stuff will be appearing in a next gen console of some kind or whatever.
A couple of years.
Well,
so
in other words,
they're just doing explorations.
Well, yeah, in the sense, I took it to mean like, okay, so we are absolutely making a next gen console, but which no one should have doubted, but they kind of gave a little time frame for it, I guess. It's probably going to be a PS6 or whatever. But man, this video, it's like, I don't even know what they're talking about. It was like it's like the craziest. And look, anyone who's been around the industry for a long time, so all of us, will appreciate how overused certain terms are. So if you go back to, this is not the earliest version of this maybe, but it's the one I remember the best when PDC 2003 occurred, Longhorn, they're doing the lights go dark, the video starts playing, we're getting to see like the Avalon UIs for the first time. And it was like bump, it's doing the music. And then it's like, and we're just getting started. You could make a highlight reel of tech keynotes where someone says that. That guy from AMD, I swear to God, says it 3 times in this video, and I wanted to murder. I was like, stop. And it's like, and we're just getting started. And it's like, stop.
Did he say at the end, we can't wait to see what you do with this?
Exactly. You are not just getting started. You have been working on this for a long time. You are probably almost done. But you know what? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. Stop saying it. What do you mean you're just getting started? If you're just getting started, why are you talking about it? Here's an idea. Why don't you get a fully formed thought and then tell us when you're not just getting started? Were you sitting on the toilet one morning and you're like, let's make a video with the guy from PlayStation? What are you doing?
Forget getting started. Get your act together.
Yeah. This is like getting ready to install. It's like, so you're not installing. Here's an idea. Why don't you tell me when you're installing it? Don't tell me you're thinking about installing it.
Yeah, heck, tell me when it's installed. I don't even.
Our industry is the worst. we are the worst.
Yeah.
This stuff makes me crazy.
But we're just getting started.
It's like we're 2.5 hours into Windows Weekly, but we're just getting started. Stop. Just stop.
Well, maybe I should stop it for a minute because the back of the book is just around the
corner. We're just getting started on the back of the book.
We're just getting started. We've got whiskey, we've got tips, we've got picks. But first, ladies and gentlemen, a little plug for the club. If you're not in the club, I want to get you in the club. We've actually made it very easy to get into the club. We've got a couple of new features that you might be interested in. First, let me explain what the club is. Club TWiT gives you ad-free versions of all the shows. Of course, because, you're giving us money, so we don't have to charge you. But you get a whole lot more. You get the good feeling of knowing you're supporting this network and all the shows we do. And I think we do a lot of really good stuff. A lot of it's pro bono because we can't get advertising support for it. So, the club supports it, but that's great. You also get access to the Club TWiT Discord, which is the best social network ever because you're hanging out with other smart people talking about all the things geeks are interested in. You get special programming we only do in the club. We've got some stuff coming up. In fact, this week, we've got Chris Marquardt's Photo Time is coming up on, I think it's, let's see, starting today. I should actually start today because Micah's Crafting Corner. Micah Sargent Chills does some Lego. You could do your craft, bring your own craft. It's always a lot of fun. That's 6 p.m. Pacific on the third Wednesday of every month. Then on Thursday, 1 p.m., Photo Time with Chris Marquardt. Friday, Stacy's Book Club. You see, the club is really quite active. We're doing a memory called Empire, really interesting sci-fi book, and we'll announce our next read. There's Home Theater Geeks. There's iOS Today. There's Hands on Tech. Our AI user group, always a lot of fun. And we've set a date for the D&D one-shot adventure. Micah Sargent's going to be our dungeon master. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. All of that available to club members. So go to twit.tv/clubtwit. Sign up today. Now, there are some things you might want to know about. First of all, if you want to give Club TWiT, it's an excellent gift. The geek in your life will guarantee you appreciate it. You get 10% off new annual subscriptions or gift subscriptions. Could be for you or yourself or your friends. The code is Holiday25. This is now through Christmas, December 25th. So 10% off new annual subscriptions and new annual gift subscriptions, but only through Christmas. Holiday25 is the offer. You'll find this at the website. You don't have to remember any of this. twit.tv/clubtwit. There's also family memberships. There's corporate memberships, group memberships, that kind of thing. So we would like to get you all involved. Support what we're doing, help us out here, and you can even get a 14-day free trial. So your first 2 weeks are free. And you can cancel at that time if you say, nah, it's not worth the $10 a month. I think it is. And again, brand new Holiday 25 offer code for 10% off new annual subscriptions. You can't apply it to your existing subscription. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your support in the club. We really appreciate it. And if you're not a club member, twit.tv/clubtwit. We would love to have you. Now it's time for the back of the book. Little Paulie Thurrott has his tip of the week. Little Paulie.
So last week, the big controversy was that Microsoft was in the process of removing some of the more common workarounds to installing Windows 11 with the local account. And look, I've made this argument for years. I mean, for most people, and I mean like 99% of people, like signing in with an online account, whether it's a Microsoft account or a Microsoft Work or School account, is the right choice. It's the right thing to do for all kinds of reasons. But like, I get it. I know people want this, but I got ripped to shreds on my own site from people like, ooh, like everyone has their little use case, whatever. Like, I get it. Okay, fine. Thing is, like, you knew this was never really going away, right? Like, there were always going to be other workarounds. And I identified, I think, 7 of them and then documented 2 because how many do you need, right? And the 2 I documented are the 2 that work, are 2 of the ones that work in both Home and Pro and presumably other Windows 11 versions, right? So one of the famous workarounds that has actually still exists today is the domain workaround where you choose the work or school thing and then you're like, just kidding, I don't have an account. And it's like, oh, you can make a local account. That still works, but you need to have Pro, right? And so I can't read this out loud. One of them literally is a command line for adding a registry key that is literally adding back the old bypass and a row workaround that existed up until 2 seconds ago. So, but the short version is in both cases, you start Windows setup. So that white screen comes up. Maybe it's a new computer. Maybe you reset it. Shift F10 to bring up a command line in one case. And then a couple of commands, and then you reboot, and it goes. There's actually one it's a JavaScript console that appears as an overlay over the thing. It's kind of interesting. This is actually the shorter one, and it doesn't require you to reboot, which is kind of nice. And same thing, you just do an offline install, so it just works. So yep, all that anger and noise over nothing. But like I said, I feel like we have kind of an unspoken contract with Microsoft, like. As power users with whatever needs we have, we sort of respect the fact that what we're doing is a little unusual. It's not what most people need or want, but Microsoft will always give us these workarounds or at least allow them to exist. So they still are. There are many of them, right? So, but anyway, I've documented 2. So you want to see that? It's up on the site. You can go see it. It's not hard, people, It's just, I don't know what that was all about. Last week I mentioned, because Microsoft announced it, that there was a new OneDrive app coming for Windows. And they said it's coming next year, and I was like, okay, that's curious. Cause I at the time before the announcement, this had leaked and I had downloaded, the new version of the app, but it was just like the OneDrive experience that you get in Windows through the taskbar, et cetera. I didn't see an app, but as it turns out, this app is probably on your computer right now. So if you go into there's actually a couple of ways to find it, but the easiest one is just to navigate into your user account, and then this is hidden. So you append the app data single word folder, and then from there it's local. I'm just doing it now as I say this in Microsoft, and then OneDrive, and then in there you will see OneDrive.exe, which is the OneDrive experience that you have that's built into the operating system. But there's a second app in there called OneDrive.app.exe, and that's the new OneDrive app. So you can actually experience it right now. It's basically a front end to the new OneDrive site, actually. But it's pretty. And if the file experience is terrible and pointless, but the photo experience is actually really nice. And that's the reason they're doing it. If you don't see it there, I've also been told, let me look on this computer, see if I see it here. You can also just go into program files, and then OneDrive should be, let me just look on this one. It was x86. Yeah, I don't see it in here. It's somewhere. Maybe it's under Microsoft. One more time. Sorry. Microsoft. I don't actually see it on this computer, but some people are saying they see it somewhere in one of the program files, subfolders. OneDrive is in there somewhere. You can see it there as well. So it's probably on your computer right now. Like if you want to experience it, you can go get it. It's not like a beta thing. It's not in the preview. It's just stable Windows 11. It's just there. They just kind of quietly threw it in there. So, and tied to this, by the way, is a pop-up I saw in PhoneLink. In fact, let me see if it appears in this computer where, no, I haven't connected this yet. But when you have a phone connected through PhoneLink, you'll see a bar at the top maybe it's when you go into Photos, but at some point you'll see a bar that says they're actually going to get rid of that experience. Like they might be getting rid of any Photos interface inside PhoneLink, and they'll to put it in that app instead, right? And so the current situation is we have this kind of weird thing. I don't know why they did this exactly, but there's a gallery view in File Explorer, which just mirrors the way that the Photos app displays your photos. But if you go into the Photos view, one of the things you can do is see your phone photos, obviously. I mean, and it works with an iPhone too. So if you have an iPhone, you don't see photos in the PhoneLink app. So maybe this is a way to make this more consistent. But I think in the future, it's going to all go through this new OneDrive app. So that seems to be the progression there. Nice. And this doesn't impact too many people, but Dia is now broadly available for anyone, including those people who don't have like early access or whatever, but it's Mac only. So someday we'll have it on Windows, but for now I would look at Comet and Neon, as the...
For an AI-centric
Yep, if that's what you want to need, yeah.
Yeah, Dia's from the folks who gave us Arc.
Yep,
and they've been purchased by Atlassian.
Atlassian.
So I'm not sure
company
what's
well
gonna,
known and loved, a big consumer company. They're going to do
I'm not
great.
sure what's going to happen to
I don't know
either Arc or Dia.
I know. We'll see.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll keep one or the other or both, ideally.
I think they're going to keep both. I mean, but it's a question of like focus. Are they going to turn it into more of like a workflow kind of a deal, or is it going to be something consumers might want? I don't know.
Maybe it's what we were talking about, which is they realize that you have to have kind of an agentic platform going forward. I mean, that's going to be where
you talk about. They may have products too that are going to be disrupted by AI, so they're obviously trying to make some moves. Right.
Yep. I mean, Comet is unique in I guess Dia is like this, but Mac only, where you can access it without having to pay for it and kind of at least see if maybe this is something that would be useful to you. I mean, I think there'll always be some kind of free option. But.
Yeah, I've been using Comet. I'm going to try to get into the Neon sphere and see.
I don't know that do you know that people who have it have the ability to do what you say?
I know nothing because I can't use it.
I'll look.
I can. I
can throw your. You want me? I can give you a name to Opera. Like I know those guys pretty well.
I don't like to do that. I like to pretend that I don't exist. Once you let the PR people know you exist, they crawl all over you. And you're used to that.
The people at Opera, they're good people though. They're good.
Well, they're Norwegian. They have to be good.
Yeah, they have to be. They can't.
Are they still Norwegian, or it's China now, isn't it?
No. So they're independent now. They're actually,
they went back.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, because they were for a long time.
Yep.
And then I think Techner sold it to a Chinese.
No, Techner is Vivaldi, but
that's Vivaldi. That's
but right. Yes, I think they were briefly owned by a Chinese company. Like Saab, Volvo, or the rest of the planet. I don't know, like Microsoft or Apple.
Tata Motors.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, now that the tips and tricks and apps have concluded, it means it's time for Richard Campbell and the RunAs Radio show of the week.
Steve Seifus was my guest. So he's one of the very rare twice in a year guests. The earlier show that I did with him this year was talking about strong certificates in Active Directory, which has been a major security vulnerability that it's taken a couple of years to fix. And early this year, they finally did a breaking change that you could fix with a registry change just to get everybody on board. And so this show, we actually did talk about the fact that fix is now over and they've locked everything down and nothing bad has happened. They've done very well. Steve has built really good strategies on how to get very busy sysadmins to pay just enough attention to get over these hurdles. And now he's taking on an even bigger hurdle, which is the retirement of NTLM.
Oh boy.
For those who have forgotten, NTLM stands for NT, as in new technology, land manager.
Oh, land manager. Woohoo!
This is a tech from the 1990s.
They invented SMB, right?
This is like the main services essentially, but
this is your, LAN security protocols that are wildly out of date. The Microsoft's official guidance has been to not deploy NTLM since 2010.
Wow.
But the reality is it's been really hard not to use NTLM. There's lots of stuff that depends on it. It's still in there by default. Like, it's risky. And so it's time to put NTLM to bed, finally. It really does need to go. And so there's a push to get serious about fixing things up, starting with, this is a feature I really appreciate, didn't realize until I went and looked, you now have really good logging for when anything invokes an NTLM security requirement. It used to be that you could see that it was being used, but it was hard to see what was using it. It would give you a process ID, which isn't helpful because, by the time you've read the log, that process is long gone. Now it's actually identifying applications. So you have a better chance of actually being able to track down what's still using it. They've created some new services like Microsoft Negotiate to help you actually create an intermediary for anything NTLM dependent so that you can force it into higher protocols, and as alternatives become available, they can fix it. But the goal is truly to retire NTLM in the near future.
Because it doesn't have a strong authentication protocol.
Hasn't for ages.
It's completely crackable. Okay.
Yeah, it's so vulnerable. And so
it's so vulnerable.
I've included in the links in the show notes a video that was actually an internal video by Steve, internal to Microsoft, that they later published, called "Deprecating NTLM is Easy and Otherwise."
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's hysterical.
Because he just got in. It's one of those things where it's like, this shouldn't be that hard. It's like, no, dude, it's hard. It's just so
everybody relies on it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of hardware is built to use it only, like, and old printers and all kinds of things. So it's just not an easy problem. And Steve's taking it on. He wants to put that one to bed. He put the strong authentication to bed. Now he's trying to put
SMB survives, though, right? I mean,
yes. Although again, Ned Pyle and all those guys have been pushing hard on just don't use SMB when it's so incredibly vulnerable, because SMB 3 is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like it's great, but again, there's a lot of old hardware out there that just has SMB 1 or nothing,
right,
or it doesn't work,
right.
And so for a sysadmin, you sometimes have an old critical piece of hardware that's got these dependencies, and you got to try and put it in as tight a box as you can and put it as high as list as you can. I'll replace this before it takes us down, before it becomes an attack vector.
Jiminy. Well, that's a show to listen to. RunAs Radio 1006. The end is nigh.
Yes. NTLM. Your days are numbered.
So somebody said, out of 6 says, lead it out to behind the barn and put it out of its misery.
Chasing rabbits.
Yeah.
What? It's just going up to the farm. Mm-hmm. It's going up. That's going upstate.
Upstate. They're all good.
Yeah.
Protocols go someday. All right, let's put our miseries to rest with a fine quaff.
And I flashed this bottle
Oh,
last
look,
week,
it's so little.
as it was given to me. My friends Heather and Ben gave this to me.
Cute.
They've given me a number of whiskeys over the years, and this was another one of them. It's out of Missouri because they're from Kansas City, and this is Holiday Soft Red Wheat Bourbon, which I've deliberately not had a taste of, knowing I was going to get a chance to try it with all you fine friends. So this is out of Weston, Missouri, right? Which is probably a place you probably haven't heard of. But there's a bit of a story here on what made Weston, Missouri important. And you got to go all the way back to New France. So, before the United States was the United States, when it was just a set of colonies, New France, at its height in the early 1700s, was territory covering from Texas almost all the way to Florida, going all the way up through the Great Lakes into parts of Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, even all the way as far as Newfoundland. It obviously shrank over time. Spain took some territories. There's the conflicts with Britain that led to the expulsion of the Acadians, who were French-speaking colonists up in the area around Newfoundland and Labrador, who then fled to Louisiana. You now know them as the Cajuns. Ultimately, the Louisiana Purchase, which is Napoleon Bonaparte, kind of low on money, afraid of the conflict he's about to have with the English, decides rather than have the English seize more of New France, he sells it to the Americans for $15 million in 1803. And that splits up all of these things and starts to set us onto this path. And immediately after the Louisiana Purchase was done, the next year in 1804, Lewis and Clark starts their way across these new lands of America. And while traveling, they ran across a very rare limestone spring in what was still called the Louisiana Territory, would eventually be known as the Missouri Territory, because we don't have the name Missouri yet, right? Missouri doesn't become a state until 1820, when you get the Missouri Compromise. This was a slave issue where the Northerners didn't want more slave states, so the compromise was, okay, we'll grant Maine statehood at the same time as Missouri statehood, so it still remains equal, a non-slave state and a slave state. By 1837, so just a few years later, Weston is formed. It's a little town on the river, fewer than 300 people, but at that moment was one of the largest ports on the Missouri River. It's still very early days. And a few years after that, the brothers Ben and David Holliday buy the land where this spring is. Now, Ben Holiday is kind of a legend. If you may or may not have heard him, he was born in 1819 in Kentucky, and they moved to the Missouri lands, which was now a state, and were able to buy an old stone meatpacking plant built on the site around that spring. And being from Kentucky and familiar with bourbon, he realized how valuable a limestone spring was, because while the water has a lot of mineralization, it has no iron. It has calcium carbonates and magnesiums and so forth, which are far more palatable. What you don't want in waters that's being used in distilling is any iron at all, and limestone gets rid of that problem entirely. And so they set up a distillery over a few years. Ben is the one who had the money and made the deal on land. His brother David bought a lot of the equipment. They dug out the limestone spring to make it a larger well so that they could use more of the water. And by 1856, they have a distillery operating they call the Blue Springs Distillery. And they're making whiskey at 35 cents a gallon.
Oh,
now, within a year or two, Ben sells
gas.
It's crazy. Well, it's also 1856, and there is no gas. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Right? But, within a year or two, Ben sells his share to his brother and goes on to become become the stagecoach king. He forms the Overland Stagecoach Company, who provides travel services from the area, Missouri and the central states, all the way to the Oregon territories. He'll ultimately sell that to Wells Fargo in 1866 for $1.5 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Recognizing that the railways were coming, so he got rid of that and tried to get into railways. The sad part of the story, of course, is that he was a wheeler dealer, politically connected, made a fortune, lost a fortune, died in 1887, broke. David Holiday stayed happily running that distillery until he passed away, and it passed on to his son and his son-in-law, who renamed it as the Barton and Holiday Distillery in 1894. They get out of the distillery business entirely in 1900 when George Shawden of the Shawden Distillery, and the Shawden Distillery had burned down in a neighboring county, and so he wanted to get back into business, so he bought the distillery from the Holidays. And it stayed with him for about through Prohibition. The Shawden Distillery had a medicinal license during Prohibition, the way you should do it. And in 1936, it sold to Isidore Singer, who renamed it the Old Weston Distilling Company. And then it's renamed the McCormick Distilling after the Singer folks buy the rights to another distillery burned down, the McCormick Distillery, and so the McCormick brands are more popular or better known than Old Weston, so they start using the name McCormick for everything. That company is acquired in 1950 by a larger conglomerate called Midwest Grain Products. So they were making the grain products, and they wanted to have the distillery as well. The operator was a guy named Cloud L. Gray. And then they ran for about 30 or so years, but in 1985, making a variety of products, they stopped making bourbon entirely to make more cost-effective liquor. So that's vodka, rum, gins, those kinds of things. And so for 30 years, this distillery did not produce any whiskey whatsoever. But in 1993, McCormick Distillery was acquired by this private investing group that has a couple of serious industry professionals, guys named Mike Greisner and Ed Petchar, and they rehabilitate the entire facility. In 2015, they do a major renovation and restart bourbon production, and that's when they rename it back to the Holiday Distillery, even though there's no holidays involved, and they haven't been involved for more than 100 years. So it's just a name. But they're also part of a group of folks in Missouri that went to the government and got the term Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey declared as a standard in 2019. So first off, to be a Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey is to be compliant with the bourbon standards, which is at least 51% corn, aged in American oak, made in the U.S., and so forth. But it also has the additional requirements to be Missouri Straight Bourbon, to be mash fermented, distilled, aged, and bottled in Missouri, with barrels made in Missouri from corn grown in Missouri. That's the only way you get to call it Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey, which is what this is. Now, this particular edition has, even though the bottle's named Holiday, is not remotely related to any of the whiskey that the Holidays once made back in the 1890s, because it has soft red winter wheat in it. So it is a wheated bourbon like a Pappy Van Winkle, which is unusual, or a Maker's Mark. and it's only been made for a couple of years. So the mash bill on this is 73% corn. That's a lot of corn. 15% red winter wheat, 12% barley. So when you smell it, it smells sweet. Like that is sugary. Boy, that's a lot of corn. Yeah, that's potent. Of course, none of the bite of rye, just that sort of sweet, broad flavors.
Why is corn bourbon sweeter? Doesn't all the sugar get converted into alcohol? Or?
Most of the sugar does, but you still have those sweet notes to it.
It's a flavor.
Corn, yeah, you can definitely sense it. It's very different from barley in that respect. The distillery itself is actually that original meat packing house that Ben Halliday bought back in 1847. That building still stands, and that is still the distillery. But it's also a protected building. It's been there for so long that when they went to replace the still that was there with a modern one in 2015, they weren't allowed to take the building apart because it's considered a heritage site. So they had to get a deal with the state to open up a piece of the roof to lift this massive Vendome column still, a 50-foot tall still in, to put in a modern still and still use the same building. They use the dual cooker system, which is very common for these kinds of mash bills. So they actually cook the corn separately from the wheat and the barley, and that's an amylase problem. So it's pretty common in that part of the world. They use the sour mash process, super common when you have a high alkali water from limestone, right? That water is going to be 8.5 pH, which is a little too alkaline to use. Sour mash is really the practice of taking the residues from previous distillation runs and putting it back into the still. It's quite acidic, so it offsets the effects of the water, and it introduces some better flavors to it. And you can see this got a lot of character to it. As is typical with a column still, when they do a distillation, straight to 60%, unlike when you do pot stills where you'll get an interim step around 40 and then you'll get up to the 60s the second round. The first pass raises it right to 60, and then the second pass is not in the column still. It's in a doubler, which is a simplified version of a pot still, which takes it to about 65. They barrel at 59, so they'll cut it with water and then put it into new make, toasted American oak barrels from trees from Missouri, assembled in Missouri. They have two rack houses, which are wood iron strap style rack houses. One of them 7 stories tall, considered extremely large. Although they just recently got the old cave that was part of the original structure certified to start aging barrels in. So we haven't seen any whiskey out of that old cave yet. But the side effect of those big wooden rack houses is that Missouri is similar to Kentucky in terms of the water and their growing conditions, but they have colder winters and hotter summers. So their aging process is more severe and it's hard on the barrels. The range of ABV from the top to the bottom of a 7-story rack house is going to be massive. So they do have to do a lot of combinations on it. But yeah, this is a wheated bourbon. And it's relatively unusual, and it's from Missouri. It's Missouri straight. You can find it at Total Wine for about $55, and it's 50% ABV, which is a very traditional 100 proof Missouri whiskey kind of number. So it's a call back to the past while being contemporary whiskey.
And it tastes like cornflakes.
Not so much. No, it's got that very corny, sweet sort of note. Like, it's lovely. Right? That's nothing. This is, it's a different. You would get this for a friend who likes Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
Right. Because they like a bourbon, but this is a Missouri straight. So it's a little different. It's not especially expensive. You're not going to normally seek it out because you probably never heard of it before. It's one of the oldest distilleries in the United States. Full stop.
Story. Yeah.
Right. Except to be clear, there's almost nothing left of the original distillery that the Holidays built. Other than that building, it's a new still, new process. They've rebuilt all that thing, and they claim the old name.
They're good marketers. They've got a podcast. They've got tours. They know how to. And by the way, children under 4 get the bourbon tour for free. So
that's nice.
That's a good deal.
Kids love alcohol.
Kids love bourbon.
Yeah. Kids complain at the Heineken plant that they're like, "What is this? Like, we don't even get." I'm like, "It's basically water. You can have some at the end."
As always, love the brown liquor segment. Thank you, Richard Campbell. You find Richard and the RunAs Radio show at runasradio.com. That's where you'll find his .NET Rocks program, too, with Carl Franklin. runasradio.com. And we are blessed with him every Wednesday on this show. Next week, Lisbon to Stavanger to...
Stavanger, yeah.
Stavanger.
So stop off in Trondheim for a few days, and then I'll be in Stavanger by
as one does. You should never go to Stavanger without stopping off at Trondheim.
Yeah, well, coastal Norway is lovely. Although this time of year it's a bit wet.
You should visit the fine folks at Opera while you're there.
Good point. Yeah. That is Mr. Paul Thurrott. He is, of course, at thurrott.com. Even when he's in Roma Norte, he's in thurrott.com. That is his website. Become a premium member. Lots of great content behind the paywall. Lots of great content in front of it, too, though. So make a visit. And don't forget his books, The Field Guide to Windows 11 and Windows Everywhere at leanpub.com. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your wonderful contributions. We do Windows Weekly every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. You can watch it live. Well, if you're in the club, of course, in the Discord, and you can chat with us in the Discord. But we also stream it live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, and Kick. So pick your poison, as it were, and join us live. If you can't watch live, it's available on demand. We make recordings of it. It's a miracle technology. Allows us to do both audio and video, which is, by the way, the video has the audio as well, so you don't have to combine the two. You could pick one, and you'll get the audio in both. That is available at our website, twit.tv/WW. I know people sometimes are concerned when I say you've got a video version that it's just like a slideshow, but no, there's actually audio as well. Windows Weekly is also on YouTube. There's a channel dedicated to it. Great way to share clips from the video. And of course, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client, and that way you'll get it automatically the minute we're done. Thanks to Kevin King, our producer and editor on the show. And thanks to you guys for joining us. Thanks to our wonderful club members for making it all possible. We will see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.